take your pain and turn it into pleasure. Into pleasure. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. Just say that say that you'll be. I'd be there for you whenever you need me. But you've been holding back. Maybe you're just not ready. Baby, do you feel the same? Or do you feel the pressure? I promise I can take your pain and turn it into pleasure. Into pleasure. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too.
Deep minds, we were forced to be alone. Unknowns and nowhere to say. And even when it seems like there's no way out, we'll grow a little closer. Through water we flow. All of us together, we're good, we flow. Nothing is the same, but I won't hold back. I won't hold back. I won't hold back. 'Cause we're better together. Better as one. 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 Deep minds, we were forced to be alone. Unknowns and nowhere is the same. Grow a little closer, through water we flow. All of us together, we're good, we flow. Nothing is the same, but I won't hold back. I won't hold back. I won't hold back. Cause we're better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one.
this feels like the last time. So why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. So why did you say goodbye? Quiet like the ocean, with a rumble running deep. This is how I see you, when you hide your feels from me. Why you heavy-hearted? Cut the silence, talk to me. Release your mind, get what you need. Easily, we've been falling in disbelief. I think I'm ready for another try, but this feels like the last time. So why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. So why did you say goodbye?
stopping us now.
take your pain and turn it into pleasure. Into pleasure. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. Just say that you'll be, say that you'll be. I'd be there for you whenever you need me. But you've been holding back. Maybe you're just not ready. Baby, do you feel the same? Or do you feel the pressure? I promise I can take your pain and turn it into pleasure. Into pleasure. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too.
Deep minds, we were forced to be alone. Unknowns and nowhere is the same. And even when it seems like there's no way out, we'll grow a little closer. Through water, we flow. All of us together, we're good, we flow. Nothing is the same, but I won't hold back. I won't hold back. I won't hold back. 'Cause we're better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one. Better together. Deep minds, we were forced to be alone. Unknowns and nowhere is the same. Grow a little closer, we're water, we flow. All of us together, we're good, we flow. Nothing is the same, but I won't hold back. I won't hold back. I won't hold back. Cause we're better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one.
this feels like the last time. So why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. So why did you say goodbye? Quiet like the ocean, with the rumble running deep. This is how I see you, when you hide your feels from me. Why you heavy-hearted? Cut the silence, talk to me. Release your mind, get what you need. Easily, we've been falling in disbelief. I think I'm ready for another try, but this feels like the last time. So why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. So why did you say goodbye?
الاول This is incredible. This how it goes at the top.
الفي جي اس ممكن يفعل اللاعب الاخير امام اللاعبين. كثار
I give it. Look in my eyes.
يعملها مؤمن ولا ما يعملهاش، هي اليمين ولا مين.
I got a lot on the line. This with a different approach. All spend time in the boat.
نمبر 1 من يلبط الكروت الهادي من نيد ما تكونش في الحضان، يعطيها تكون هي للاحلام.
Hello everyone and welcome back to day 3 on our second phase right here in the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. We're back of course with all the action the Africa region has to offer. Now over the past 2 days we've actually had 4 teams being super consistent with their performances, and with this I'm of course referring to Titans Esports, Leaders Esports, Soul Esports, as well as the players coming through from one round. So we've really been having these 4 teams consistently ending up in the top 4 over our past 2 days. Now today we're waiting to see whether or not Leaders, Soul and One Round will be able to stop the dominance that we've been seeing come through from Titans, or are we just going to be having Titans continue on with the momentum that they've been so successful in just maintaining over the previous 2 days of play. Of course, my name is DK and I'm joined by none other than Boxy. Now we've had a day of rest, right? Now, what are you expecting to see in today? And also, I got to ask, how are you doing today?
Thank you for asking. I'm doing quite well. Very excited to see what the teams have in store for us. So far, out of the map rotations today is definitely one of my favorite days of the phases, because it just gets so much blood pumping. After that day of rest, the teams really come back and they push it to the limits. And that's basically what I'm expecting. That continued level of aggression that we've been seeing for the teams, pushing to get as many points as they possibly can to climb those leaderboards as much as they possibly can. And it's just been so exciting to witness it. And hopefully we see a little bit more from that today.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what the teams are going to be bringing on through. But of course, we'd also love to remind our viewers of our socials as well. So be sure to head on over, give them a follow. And while you're there, you can always tell us what you're most excited about seeing coming into today, right? Today being day number 3, right here on our second week. And of course, which teams you are supporting. Be sure to include the ever lovely hashtag right down there, PMPL Africa. And of course, you can hit us up on YouTube, Facebook, as well as on TikTok. Tell us what your hopes and dreams are for today, what you're looking forward to, and we really look forward to hearing all those answers. Now, is quite an exciting day ahead of us, but before we get too far into the day's proceedings, we also need to take a bit of a look and see and remind our viewers of what the new format change is and what we've been having in this season of PMPL.
Yeah, and as I mentioned a little bit, we have these teams really pushing the limits, pushing the boundaries of what they've been capable of in the past, because of course we have done away with those super weekends, and now every single game is utterly important for the teams to be able to qualify for the most amount of bonus points every single week. The scores will, there's a few scores that we need to keep track of. So we have the overall league rankings that will be counting how the teams are doing over all 3 of our phases, and then for each phase we have their own little scoreboards that they have to keep as well. Whoever gets to the top from those scores will get a mix between 1 to 20 points for bonus points, and at the end of our 3 phases there's another 20 points, so you can have potentially a total of 80 points taking you into the finals, which is going to be a very big change from what we've seen in previous seasons.
Yeah, it is quite a bit of a change up that we see coming through here. And as we've had it so far, teams really looking to try and capitalize on those points. But of course, speaking about the opportunities for teams to acquire those additional bonus points, we are going to be taking a look at that calendar. Of course, we are on the 9th, which means we are in that midway mark of our second week. So again, at the end of the week, that's where all the scores will be tallied up, and we'll get a look and see who will be those teams to walk away with the extra additional bonus points. But also on Sunday, we have that 6th match coming through. That is none other than Livik.
Yeah, that Livik has been very explosive. We obviously saw VST taking the winner chicken dinner from that previous Livik that we just saw in this past wonderful weekend. But now the question is, who is going to be the 12 teams joining us for Livik this week? Because we're already seeing quite a bit of a change up. As you've mentioned, some great consistency coming through from these teams. And I'm expecting a little bit more, a little extra spice added on top after the day of rest that we've had. I feel like the teams have had that time maybe to get the rest that they needed, or maybe to do the VOD reviews that they needed to bring today's performance up to a whole different level.
Well, of course, we also know at the end of the day, right, the teams are playing for their share of the prize pool. So the league stage, each team will walk away with something, right? Each team being awarded $2,500, after which we move through in towards our finals, where the team that finishes up in pole position will be walking away with $10,000 for achieving that absolutely glorious position. And utilizing those bonus points could definitely give the teams quite a bit of a head start to move on through for their share of that $150,000. We can see the total prize pool sitting on. Of course, the points trickle down to where we see the team in 16th position walking away with that additional $1,000 to their name. But as we know, right, our MVPs, who we've been seeing really going at it, will be awarded an additional $1,000 irrespective of where the team finishes.
Oh, and again, there's so much money to be playing for, and another added benefit to the teams for just pushing their boundaries and trying to get as high up those leaderboards as they possibly can, with, of course, our top 6 going through to some even greater opportunities, that being the Middle East and Africa champs, playing for those fantastic opportunities. So a lot riding on the team's performances, as we mentioned, and every single day being so important, really adding the pressure to the teams and just kicking it in the back of their minds that, well, we need to make sure we bring it.
Yeah, and one way that the teams are going to be looking to bring it, and the only way that they're going to be able to solidify those positions on the overall rankings, is through utilizing this point structure. So for our largest maps, it is going to be the usual point system, starting with 15 points for the winner chicken dinner, trickling all the way down to where 13th to 16th place will be walking away with 0 placement points, but they can still capitalize on that 1 point per elimination coming through. And we've been seeing a few teams managing to kind of just save their butts, right, with regards to points, locking in a few additional points, even though they land just outside of that placement point position.
Yeah, there's been a very interesting shift in focus from some of these teams. We know teams that are phenomenal so far at keeping it as balanced and consistent. That's, of course, being Titans, who after the first day had 50 placement, 50 elimination points, just overing. Just a beautiful score. But some teams really focus their placements rather. Slide 4KT last phase were absolutely phenomenal in ensuring that they were either in your 2nd, your 3rd to your 4th placements, really anchoring on those placement points. But there's also teams that have been so phenomenal with eliminations. Again, I'm thinking about Leaders Esports, who we even had picking up a 19 elimination game.
Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely insane to see that come through from Leaders. But of course, speaking about the teams, let's have a look at our group breakdown for this phase, right, for this week. As we know, from week to week, we are changing up the order, changing up the sequence in which the teams will be meeting each other out on that battlefield. And also on a daily basis, we're changing up that map rotation. So quite a bit of excitement has been the result of these changes coming through. But again, right, we are seeing the players there from Titan Gaming showing an absolute insane amount of dominance. One round coming from Group A, also holding strong. We've got Leaders then there from Group C, and 1 million from Group D. We are yet to see who's going to be that dominating factor coming through from Group E, right? We've had a few strong contenders. Triple Esports definitely showing a great play towards that in that very first phase, the first week. But for this week so far, it does seem like at least the super young stars are the team to shine from Group E.
And they really had to put in the work. And I'm so glad that we are seeing the benefits from all the hard work that they've been putting in behind the scenes. As you mentioned, time and time again, they've had to overcome their own obstacles, their own nemesis in game. Nemesis? I've got one of the two. They've really had to put in the work to make sure that they were coming out on top, and just once again forcing the rest of the teams to keep stepping it up, keep raising the bar of their own current levels is what PMPL is all about. We've seen this happen in the previous season. We've already seen such huge improvements throughout a couple, just one phase of games going into another 2 from this phase. It has been a massive improvement from these teams so far.
Yes, and things are just going further and further and further. Of course, speaking about going further, right, we need to take a look and see at what our overall point situation is coming into today. Of course, Titan Gaming is going to be holding on to that pole slot there with 188 points. 55 points away, we do see the players there from Leaders Esports. Now, as we know, right, locking in those 55 points for Leaders is still a very, very achievable point, especially looking at the consistency that they've been bringing through. But I also mentioned the players there from Seoul Esports and one round before. You can see them really putting in those strong efforts, sitting there side by side. And at the end of the previous phase, we had them just, I think, the opposite way around. But I'm loving the way that they are showing that consistency, pushing in, showing that they are here, they mean business, and they're not going to let anything stand between them and locking in some really decent points. But we also, they have the players there from 1 million who have the super young stars right there behind them. And I'm loving this position for the super young stars, right? Because if we look back to what we had for them over in that first phase, they ended up on a collective 79 points. This time around, they are only 18 points away from meeting that level, but surpassing that as well, as we are only still on the third day.
Absolutely. The first 2 days were quite an emotional roller coaster. I mean, not only had Titans picking up 2 winner chicken dinners every single day, which is already a ridiculous record to be setting, but we're seeing teams bring new sides of them that we saw glimmers of in the previous phase, and now they have been so consistent in just showcasing some really powerful, firepower that they've been bringing to the teams. The strategies they've been employing have been looking so clean. I mean, we can break down that final execution with virtual gaming there on Miramar in Wednesday's games, not yesterday's games. So it's really good to see these teams stepping up. But as we take a look at that second page, we obviously know that, some teams are still getting their engines warmed up. Slime 4KT sitting on 48 points, but I mean, DK, just looking at this page total points, it is so close that once again, I'm expecting huge shifts today with today's games.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 9 points separating that 9th to 16th position. So one successful run or even just one good run coming in onto either of today's maps, especially in the early stage of the day, right? It's definitely going to be quite a bit of change, particularly looking at the second page. And this is what makes it so exciting, because even if we look back on towards that first page, right, it's still a very close situation, even towards 6th. So all the way from 6th place, moving down to, I'd even say, 17th position, right? One match can definitely bring quite a drastic shift to this whole entire positioning.
Absolutely. And we're probably going to be seeing that, as we know, we started off the first day with Darkness, and I believe it was Desert Flame Esports picking up some really good momentum. And it started to, filter down a little bit as the rest of the teams also stepped up. But I don't think it's out of the cards just yet for any of these teams to just suddenly just say today is going to be the day. They're going to bring all the energy that we've been waiting for. And we're going to be pretty surprised, especially with the map rotation that we're seeing today. But of course, one more page on the overall standings. These are the teams that we have been begging, if not just crying out, in hopes that they are going to be bringing that performance that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, definitely looking to see who that will be, right? As we know, and as you've said already, right? Blackjack, Zero Tolerance, Mad Knight, leaders all situated on this last page. But we have seen a few glimmers of hopes coming through in those later days of the previous phase, and we did see Blackjack also now being able to establish themselves much further up those rankings. So I want to see that kind of strategy come back together again, right? I want to see that push come through from Zero Tolerance, from the players of Legends of War, because we saw that coming through, especially on day 5 last week. But now I want to have Mad Knight and Blackjack also just lining up those plays, those performances, and having these strategies work out a little bit more favorably for them.
Yeah, I would hope so. We saw those glimmers of hopes with Legends of War, especially in the last weekend of Phase 1, where they stepped up quite significantly, even getting very close to finding themselves in that top 3-4. I believe it was also a Miramar. The teams just seem to be loving to step up on Miramar, but I am curious to see how they're going to bring that energy back. If they were just waiting for the weekend, maybe that day of rest, the VOD reviews, whatever it is that they've been waiting for, hopefully that step in comes today.
Well, we'll definitely hope that is exactly on the board. And of course, speaking about energy, we need to give a big shout out to Monster Energy, our official energy drink partner right here for the PUBG Mobile Pro Leagues. And aside from Monster, we also have to give a big shout out going out to Oppo. So Born to Win, welcome to the exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much loved Reno 7 series. Now, I particularly did the segue there with the energy part in, because I know like you were
I've been pushing
waiting
man.
for a little bit of that to happen.
Options.
So it's like, you know what, maybe let's not let that one slide.
Thank
and
you.
just roll on through with the with the segues.
It's perfect. It's I've been waiting for so long. But let's take a look at that schedule. As we said, today is my favorite map rotation because we start off with Sanhok. We start off with that sweaty jungle action, really giving the teams the best possible warm up they possibly could have asked for, and then we follow it up with two Erangels, two Miramars, so a very good balance, obviously. But just starting with Sanhok is going to be a whirlwind.
Oh, yes, it is that time of the day, right? Ready to kick into high gear as the teams are going to be making their way on down. The lovely Sanhok down below. And this could be the opportunity for the teams situated a little bit further down that leaderboard, especially like we said before, right? Between 6th and 17th place. Now to come in and line up the aggression and maybe give P6 and Morteza here a bit of a run for their money.
I'm already loving just the drops locations that we're seeing from some of these teams. And you know, what's interesting to me is we also had some crazy initial drops on, I believe it was Wednesday, Sanhok. As we moved in, we had teams going head-to-head for those openers. I believe it might have been Super Young Stars, and my memory doesn't work so well, but maybe you'll remember it. But the energy we saw from those teams moving on through into the rest of the day, it didn't really stop at any point, and especially when we had this map rotation last phase. Oh, dear, you remember it was an early night because the teams just decided that they were going to give our voices a break and they were just going to gun it at every possible point.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that extra little bit of gunning. I mean, we can even see, just looking at what we've got coming through here from Lag, right? They also going to be keeping up that contention, coming in hot pursuit now, trying to see if they can maybe sneak a little bit of a play on towards the leaders here, but Wasted taking quite a considerable chunk of damage already out in this early stage. So, I mean, I'm loving this though, coming through for Lag, but now they've got to keep that focus on and they can't let that one slide out of the way just yet.
I'm also just loving the fact that we get to see some cave action. You know, we got a little bit of a tease on Wednesday as well. Not quite making it into cave, but you know, there were teams in and around this area. But now, finally, we get that final pursuit. It's leaders and Lag to just bless us on this day, DK, with a little bit of cave action.
What a blessing it is, right? Never shy away from any of this. Of course, it's going to be 1-9. Now shying away from the opening up top. As we know, once Morteza takes aim, there's not much that is able to stop them. But also Gaga moving in for the side of Lag, just trying to play a little bit of that due diligence here, just keeping all their options open. But again, right, a nice show of aggression coming through from Lag, and all they got to do is now just look to replicate that effort moving through the remainder of the day.
Yeah, that is going to be the question. What's also a question that's been just running through my mind today is, are Titans going to be continuing their reign of terror? Are they going to be continuing to get 2 winner chicken dinners a third day in a row? That's going to be a very good question to ask. And what's another good question is, well, when is PowerBoy going to be coming back? Well, definitely the next map. Not in this one. Unfortunately, as one round moves on in, gets that confirmation, and immediately triggers and signals for Legends of War to just disperse, just scatter.
Yeah.
As we take a look at, of course. Oh, you back? Hello.
Yeah.
Why, hello. I thought you still left me, and I was just
No,
sad.
no. I'm quick fast. I'm quick fast. And of course, speaking about quick fast, right? You see Morteza also being quick fast there on the trigger, laying it on pretty thick in and amongst the players there coming through from the side of Lag. And again, right, Morteza just proving why they are such a formidable foe to go toe-to-toe with, as we did see them sitting within our top 3 eliminators, right? But also bringing in quite a substantial amount of damage alongside that. So definitely quite a unsurprising turn of events in favor of leaders. But Wasted has been sent off, so that could have a little glimmer of an impact on the performance coming through for leaders in the remainder of this day.
Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, another team that I'm also just, you know, I mentioned it, we were talking about that prime execution for what we saw on Wednesday. I mean, I'm just reminded of virtual gaming, and in the game that they won, just that prime precision that we moved into for that first Miramar of the day. I remember they were in that standstill against, I believe it was Seoul Esports and Leaders, and they literally, the communication was on par, DK. They were like, cool, You've got one nade left. You're gonna throw that right at leaders. We've got one player just shooting on it at Soul. The rest of the team, we take out the remainders of leaders, and they executed it with a couple of seconds, and boom, winner chicken dinner. There were still 3 teams left, and no, there wasn't. There was just virtual gaming. So again, the teams are stepping up massively, and now, unfortunately for Legends of War, it does seem like they are going to be finding the revenge play here from Seoul Esports, who lost out on Miramar, but are deciding they want to win a winner chicken dinner potentially here on Sanhok.
Yeah, but I mean, as I said before, right, Seoul proving to be a team that is just capable of being consistent in and out across this entire week so far. So I'm going to be looking to see what Seoul is looking to step in with, right? Are they going to be showing up with a lot of aggression? Are they going to be taking a more of a calculated approach? Maybe just trying to play it a little bit more on the cool side? Because we can see Rauf was right there on the front line, but instead choosing to reposition themselves, getting a little bit further away, but in doing so opens up the opportunity for the rest of the team to get themselves moved into position. We can see YC and Twix now also just moving in on the back end. But this could be that beautiful lineup now for the players here from Seoul to try and utilize. But of course, speaking about utilization, it's Blackjack, Zero Tolerance, starting to go toe-to-toe over on this eastern edge of the zone, right alongside Quarry. And already we do see Phoenix not being here with the rest of the team any longer. But up comes a great opportunity now as Chrono just times that shot to perfection.
Oh, Zero Tolerance now down to 2 members remaining. And we saw what beautiful strategies they were employing, right? I, again, just reminded of that fantastic trap that they laid there towards Erangel between those 2 bridges, you know, just massively utilizing all of the information that were available to them with those rotations coming through. But now, well, now all of that beautiful, you know, strategy has to be pulled off with only 2 members remaining. As Blackjack move on through, does look like they're opting for a bit of a pincer maneuver here. I'm seeing the rest of the members at least Reverb, trying to get a bit of a flanking position. But we need to also keep in mind, DK, that MG is all the way there by Kampong.
Oh, yes. I mean, well, MG is not needed at this point, right? As we can see, Reverb and Chronal, they're going to be moving forward, taking down Vortex. Now it all turns down to Lord, the final contender left here for Zero Tolerance. But whichever way they look to push this, they need to be quite swift about it, because we got the players from Virtual Gaming starting to descend from that northern position. So there could be that extra bit of pressure being added on towards them. But for the time being, Lord just going to be keeping a very close eye on the surrounding area, hoping for a bit of an opportunistic play perhaps to come in. But now, you know, we'll have to wait and see how that one kind of pans out.
Absolutely. And what I'm keeping my eyes on, and well, again, the observers, they can read my minds, is the center location here with Painan. I mean, we've got Darkness, we've got Legends of War, we've got Seoul Esports in and around this area fighting for supremacy and control. So quite a little bit of engagement that has stepped up. Of course, Seoul, they've got that high-rise position, can get a fantastic amount of information coming through here. And Darkness moving on in from a little bit of that flanking position. Again, all of this happening center zone. So they're not really in a rush to get this done anytime soon. They're more just focused on keeping their numbers as high as they possibly can.
But it's also a lot more of a confident approach, right? I mean, you can see it being reflected in the way that the teams handle the situation, handle the strategy, right? Are they just going to be jumping out, taking a shot at every single thing that moves just for the sake of, you know, firing off those hits? Or are they going to be waiting for a little bit more of a strategic angle to be played here, right? Gathering more information, being way more decisive before taking said engagement or altercation. But that's what I'm loving, having coming through here from Leaders of War, right? They're holding those positions. They can see what's going on around them. They're showing that awareness, but they're not necessarily looking to make too much noise. Instead, looking to play those calculations and not wanting to just jump at everything.
Which, again, it provides you that time to just fully understand the situation. I mean, I was praising Zero Tolerance with the strategies they were bringing in on Erangel, just utilizing the rotational paths to the teams, well, the other teams disadvantaged into their advantage, picking up those fantastic eliminations. So just taking it low and low, just understanding and getting as much information as possible before you make your move. That's what we love to see. So what's also interesting here is Slime 4KT making a little bit of that rotation. And again, just like I say at the observers, they just know, they just read my mind. Slime 4KT here holding the bridge line, but of course, right into Wave Esports, who've moved in for a little bit of action.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a healthy position, especially now for both Wave and Slime to be holding Wave. they've been just, sitting here waiting to see where the next phase is going to be taking them and whether or not they need to bring in any aggressive pushes. We've seen them showcase a little bit of that talent before, but they are going to be put to the test going up against the players from Slime 4KT. As we know, based on what we had going through in that first week, they've been quite a formidable force to be reckoned with. But also now, it is going to be Arab Golden. Ooh, finding those hits up into towards Scary Boy and Morteza. Down they go, and now all of their hopes turn over to Shadowin. But Shadowin is just chilling on the bridge, having a little bit of a... I almost said dumpster dive, and then I realized that's not what you call the back end of a truck. So, yeah, I mean, Shadowin is just
Trailer
chilling,
dive?
enjoying the sun.
It's a trailer dive, I guess. Yeah, no.
Sure,
Contain
sure.
her. Yeah, no.
Sure,
maybe the
That-
chat
exactly.
can let us
Exactly.
know what would be a better word there. But Arab Golden, of course, they have smelled blood. They have found some morsel of success, and now they're just looking for those confirmations, just paneling absolutely every piece of lead they possibly have into Shadowin, not giving them any space whatsoever. And then Ban up close and personal, looking for that confirmation, and Shadowin
Oh.
doesn't even get to touch the ground.
No.
Goes down as a box, unfortunately.
Yeah, Angelo really good with, doing some packaging. But Ban also not going to get taken down as Lag swings in, capitalizing on the opportunity here. It is going to be Gaga to send out the carnage, send out the pain. But again, I'm loving this approach coming through from Lag. Yes, we can see Gaga right here on the front line. The rest of the team, A9Q and Fantasy, just positioned a little bit further up towards the north again, just bringing in that additional coverage. But at this point, I'd love to see the rest of the team pulling a little bit closer, because this is somewhat of a risky play for Gaga to be making.
Again, you do have that opportunity of, some early pick'ems, maybe finding one or two eliminations, but you're running this without your backup. You're running this without your comrades here to, just maybe res you, maybe give you the utility you need or the covering fire you need, should you find yourself in a bit of a perilous situation. So we'll have to wait and see how that one's going to pan out. In the meanwhile, we've got one round virtual gaming, also just making their approach a little bit closer to that early engagement of Pi Nun that we saw Soul, Legends of War, and Darkness at least somewhat starting. No confirmations just yet. So again, the teams, they've calmed down significantly from what we saw last phase, Friday's games.
But it's showing that confidence, right? The teams are really starting to get more at ease. And that's what I'm really liking to see is it's just the way that the teams are looking to capitalize on that confidence, that comfort. Looking at P6, I mean, could you ask for a more comfortable position to be in? Just going to be enjoying the view, looking down on towards the players there from Darkness. The rest of the squad from Titan are going to be moving much closer. We can see them now coming through from that eastern side, but not an overly aggressive convergence of action moving into center zone. Sure, we have a few teams in relative close proximity to each other, but now adding on that next zone shift, this is where it's going to allow a team like Soul, for instance, or even Leaders of War to now just hunker down on those positions and see what they can bring on through, right? Whether or not they can line up a few of those extra additional eliminations.
Yeah, Leaders of War, you say. What name change is this? You catching me off guard here. It's that LOL. It's that L on. What did you say? LOL. LOL
Yes.
action that's catching you off guard. Yeah. I get it. But Legends, they do find themselves in very close proximity here with the rest of the team. So again, it's not a case of that early, central shift that we saw, meaning that these teams are close to each other. It's just those hot drops. But speaking about hot drops, or at least hot pursuits, it's Team Lag looking for a bit of revenge here.
I like this for Lag. Really, really liking this. Just moving up with so much confidence. It's going to be up to Ilias now to defend. Angelo manages to pull off that raise, but up comes the rush. Ilias gets traded down. Angelo finds the trade, not before going down themselves. But now it all turns over on towards Sin, the final contender left here for Arab Golden Fantasy. Going to be looking to apply that extra additional bit of pressure. Finds a beautiful angle. Puts quite a bit of damage in towards Sin. Up comes Gaga now rushing on forward, trying to secure A9Q. Of course, the nade's going to be flying up as well. Let's see it go. Will this be the one to end it off? Oh, it's close.
Ooh.
It is super close. First bit of
it's
damage
done.
is locked in.
Surely.
Second one. Oh, and there we have it.
There we go. And again, this was a little bit of an altercation of necessity, right? Team Lag taking their, rotation into zone. They didn't really have much choice here towards the edge, moving on into the territory here. So It had to happen, but I'm very glad that Lag managed to actually make it work in their favor. Unfortunately, we're going to say goodbye to Arab Golden, but they picked up 3 eliminations, so I think they're feeling pretty good at this point in time. A few more stragglers out in the zone, as we can see. Again, 1 million, and I believe it might have been the side there of Blackjack Esports. They're adopting that sort of straggler strategy, leaving someone out in the blue, just in case something happens a little bit later.
I'm not quite sure if that's intentional at this point in time, but I have to say it seems to be that way. Looking at Senke and MG's current positioning, we see coming through on that map. But as we talk about positioning, right, it is going to be quite an essential players coming through here for Legends of War, which I called leaders before. Thank you for that one. But
I'll cover
yeah,
you, don't worry.
it's going to be quite an essential position for them now to try and keep that angle locked down. Of course, speaking about lockdowns, it is going to be Darkness and Blackjack getting into a bit of an altercation here. Tornado picking up 2 beautiful knocks and confirmations right there, as we can see that being quite the substantial gain being made. But I'm loving the way this is shaping up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Blackjack are keeping their heads on a swivel here. As well, it's just MG. Remember those stragglers we were talking about earlier on? You know, that one straggler that was in Kampong, now, yeah, Lakawai, but still very far from the rest. So not quite sure if it was intentional or not, but MG is definitely going to have to just try and survive, maybe adopt that heal strat as we move on further into the zone. Of course, Titans holding that high-rise position here, getting a great bit of information as they're just on the cusp of getting closer to the zone.
I would say looking at the 19 meds that we have there for MG, at this point it is pretty much intentional. But of course, speaking about intentional, right? Titans coming through with a lot of intention, trying to hit those shots. Ooh, and it is going to be YC to get blown up, nearly confirmed, as they run in alongside the players here from Wave. And oh, this is not the position that we want to see. What kind of things turn out here for Seoul, as we are down to only a few more contenders. If I'm not mistaken, I think it is going to be down to only 1 now there for the side of Seoul. It is Rauf trying to hold strong, but Rhino going to be riding the edge, waiting for a bit of a vantage point to play in here. But if they are looking to close it up, they need to be quite swift about it, because we've got several teams now starting to move in, not only from the north, but also from that south and eastern position.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the pressure of holding Central Zone, is you have a lot of eyes on your position. I mean, Legends of War, they're looking at Titans right now and they're like, that is some sweet real estate. We'd love to take it off your hands. Mowing did well as well to just apply a lot of pressure there. I believe we did see P6 going down just for a moment, but of course the recovery is there. That's what hard cover does allow. The rest of the team still fighting for their own positions here, as we see 1 round just having a bit of a stare contest here with Desert of Flame. And this is a little bit of an interesting one, DK, because this is all the way outside the zone.
Desert of Flame, you say? Sure. All right, here we go.
Desert of the
Flame.
Flames. Flame of Desert? Desert
I'm
Flame,
going to be
yes.
looking to light up the pressure onto the players there from 1 round, moving in behind them. And this could be that kind of bounce back performance we've been waiting to see coming through from Desert Flame. But Chico and the rest of the team, they're not going to be allowing any of that to happen, at least not at this point in time, as they still are in a position to be quite contentious right here. Escanol, Chico trying to make that dash. Flacco and the rest of the players here now from Desert Flame keeping an angle on them, and that is going to be Escanol to get found out. Chico out in the grass, looking to maybe pull off that race, but they have to try and prioritize the blue, because the moment that blue bar hits the edge, that is right into the 5th phase, and that's where we know the blue zone gets absolutely brutal.
Oh, the punishment is just around the corner here, potentially. We can see even Virtual Gaming still making an approach. And unfortunately, they're doing so just behind Legends of War. And it's going to be an uphill battle, quite literally, here for Virtual Gaming, should they find themselves in a possible position moving on forward. They don't really have a lot of options at this point in time. As you said, 5 layers deep, that zone is chunking.
Oh, yes. It is quite chunky and filled up with players. Quite an interesting way to express that, but sure, that is exactly what we think. I mean, I'll go with chunky because that's what I heard. So, you know what? Why not? Speaking of that, it is going to be Flick to get taken right on down. It now turns over on towards, Abosa to try and see if they can maybe find a bit of an angle to play it here. Got Fantasy right here alongside them. And ooh, This could be that snake in the tall grass just looking to strike back and just obliterate the opposition. Whether or not that's on the cards, it's all going to ride on the performance coming through here from Legends of War. But Virtual Gaming also now getting caught out in the blue, and this could be that point of capitalization now for Lag, as we can see also Abusa moving up right behind them. Oh, but down they go. Not able to survive that rotation and get ahead up into that safe zone.
Oh, a whole different meaning to being behind enemy lines. As you can see, Titans, of course, and Desert Flame doing a little bit of a similar approach here. Desert Flame still yet to find their safety within zone. They're out in the grasses. They're just around the corner, but they're not quite there. Titans also experiencing quite a bit of trouble here as one round goes down. We are seeing, obviously, these numbers dropping like absolute flies. Even Zero Tolerance now joining the fray.
Yeah, and a whole herd of stragglers making their way on through once again. Of course, there's the Flame down to 2, going to be trying to push in, coming in from this eastern side, but they've been spotted as it is Lazy Boy to send through that warm welcoming. But look at this position though, right? 1 million absolutely locked in towards that ruins area, and that is kind of the point of amazement, because they've got the teams now wanting to try and get themselves situated, but 1 million's just like, you know what, thank you so much for coming, but we'll stop you right there. As you can see, also now T continue to hammer through a few hits, trying to lock in that elimination on towards Rhino, and they do succeed in doing exactly that.
What I'm a little bit worried about, at least I would be if I was in this map, is TEAMLAG right now, sitting on 7 eliminations. But thankfully for the rest of the squads, they are down to, unfortunately, a solo that's still trying to survive in the form of Gaga out in the blue. The rest, of course, Titans being second best in terms of eliminations, now currently sitting on 4th. But they've got their numbers. They've got 3 players and a whole host of hardcover to work with here.
Yeah, Slime definitely does have a really strong figure to play with here, but let's see whether or not they can capitalize on that fact, as we now have the players from Myth feeling a little bit of that pressure come through. Venom looking to be quite the treacherous player at this point in time. But I'm loving the kind of separation that we've got here. Even though we have 7 teams, we only see 4 of them kind of fighting for control of the zone. Titans surprisingly going to be taking a little bit more of a cautious play here, not going to be dashing straight in towards that zone, but instead we are going to be seeing those plays starting to fall as Teak now gets pretty exposed. Lazy Boy jumping at the opportunity, locking in that elimination, and now just continuing to ride this absolute glorious wave.
Oh, don't stop now, coming on through. Titans out of the picture. So we're not seeing that Titan winner chicken dinner this time around. But Slime 4KT sitting in such a beautiful position here and with fantastic numbers. But of course, their first opponents will be in the form of 1 million esports as they fight for control of this situation. Ramsey moving on closer and closer, just leading the rest of the team Myth as they look for an opportunity to get involved in this altercation. But it's going to be hard pressed to find space here.
Oh, it's going to be quite the challenge, right? It might ruin the approach for quite a few of the teams. They have to try and dig it out. Sorry, I couldn't resist. But it's going to be up to Slime 4KT now trying to creep on forward. 1 million still holding a very steady position, right? Not making too much noise, but they are keeping their eyes and their barrels open, waiting with great timing here to see if they can find that absolutely beautifully timed nade to just pop off and find the extra damage up into Slime 4KT. So far, it's not really on the cards, but Marshall can just hear all these footsteps moving about and now waiting for that moment to just strike down and potentially lock in a good running for that winner chicken dinner.
Absolutely. We can see Koa just finding a beautiful angle of sight, finding Marshall. But again, the clapback is there. 1 million, they are prepped and ready for this aggression.
Yeah, definitely quite ready for that. And of course, it is going to be Desert Flame to get sent away next. Down to Myth, we are as Lag follows suit. But a little bit of a strafe out into the blue zone, sending those nades up, going off like fireworks. You can see Ramsey from Myth just on the opposite end, but out comes the utilities once again now from Lazy Boy. Oh, trying to just get that opening created. Storm now having to deal with the threats coming through, as we can see a beautiful trade coming in. Myth not out of contention just yet. Ramsey trying to capitalize on that surprise element, but up comes Lazy Boy. The animation a little bit too slow, and it is going to be Koa to jump at the opportunity, locking in that hit, but up comes the final contender. Now Marshall, at least on the southern edge, going to be trying to just step up and bring in some additional disruptions.
Oh, just a Storm, unfortunately, trying to go for that flanking maneuver, but the space wasn't there. They still have to worry about Myth, who is still involved. At least Ramsey is for the side of Myth. Now it's Slime for KT looking for the angles, looking for the nooks and crannies that 1 million could be hiding in. But of course, we know there are looming threats. That zone moving on closer and closer. And, well, the issue might be pressed here. They might be forced just to try and, well, duke it out, try and survive it out as the zone keeps coming on through.
Yeah, Bronto was out in the blue trying to bring in a bit of a heal strat just as a backup plan. But unfortunately, as we could see, Bronto not succeeding in surviving the damage coming through here from the blue. Instead, now we turn to our final 5 players. It is going to be coming from Slime 4KT and 1 million. Both teams rocking there with 2 players with Ramsey. So going to be holding out on that opposite end. But the blue zone is going to start closing up. We are running out of phases. And it all comes down to this final push, right? There is no zone after this. The blue zone is just going to lay waste as Venom now does on towards Plaza. But could this be that opportunity for 1 million now to lock in that winner chicken dinner? Or will it be Koa to step up and just absolutely obliterate them? It's going to be Ramsey trying to push in from that southern edge, trying to come in from the subterranean levels. Marshall on the welcoming committee, waiting for a bit of an opportunity here. Up comes the trade, though. Ramsey locks it in. And now it is a 1v1 all across the board. Venom waiting patiently with that DBS. And Koa going to step up, meet them right there in the challenge. But down they go.
Oh, a little bit of a misstep, and now it's going to come down to who's going to survive the longest, and my money is going to be on Team Myth, who had, well, just all the time in the world just to step back and to relax, as Ramsey was still alive and very, very healthy into that final moments, just stealing away the winner chicken dinner. So, yeah, what a finish. Again, I was worried that this was going to happen because of that awkward placement of, Ruins coming into the final zone, and well, you gotta find the enemies, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is the exciting part about the zone finishing up where it did, but it was quite an interesting turn of events. We had players on each of the different levels through that entire location, so quite a bit of an exciting play rather coming through there. Unfortunately, as we saw, Koa was not able to keep up with the pressure, the shots just connecting up in such close proximity there. But essentially, right, it was Myth to lock in that winner chicken dinner. So Ramsey just stealing it away and reigning supreme ahead of the players from 1 million and Slime 4KT. Absolutely glorious, glorious play. But of course, right, we need to take a look and see how that then is reflected over onto our match rankings.
Oh, 1 million though, stealing the clutches of the first place position with those 7 eliminations and 12 placements. Overall, with 19 points. Just 1 point away from Team Myth, the actual winner chicken winners. But yeah, 3 eliminations, not going to quite cut it this time around. TEAMLAG, as we mentioned, they picked up a huge amount of eliminations, tying with 1 million and finding themselves with 15 points overall. Koa did very well to survive there in the later phases because Slime 4KT, they garner themselves a 4th place finish with 13 points.
Yeah, a really, really good play. And I mean, this could be the start of a bit of a comeback now for Slime 4KT, but it could also be that, kind of turning point coming through for Desert Flame, as we can see them coming in with those 10 points, or as you would say before, the Desert of Flames, sure, right? Coming in with those double-digit figures right there, locking it in. And a great start to their day. But now they just need to keep this up. They need to continue to push and not change too much. Because whatever they've been doing so far, at least for this first match, right, was quite successful for them. But I'm hoping that this is just the start. And we could see even more of that now coming through for the remainder of the day.
That would be the hope, as we know, but let's take a look at that second page. Unfortunately, some teams weren't quite as lucky. Some found themselves in some very early contentions and altercations that they didn't quite make it out of. But what I'm impressed to see is that every single team picked up at least 1 point, whether it was in the form of a placement or an elimination. The teams did phenomenally. Actually, pretty much everyone picked up an elimination on this side. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We see you.
But that's what I love about Sanhok, right? Is it gives the teams that opportunity to bring in exactly this kind of play, right? Every team walking away with points. And I think having Sanhok in this kind of map rotation is quite healthy for the teams, right? It provides them with that opportunity to just lock in a few points, build that team morale, and starting the day off with a little bit of that close call to action really kind of forces them to just react and be a little bit more, well, responsive on the triggers there.
Yeah, it's like the perfect deathmatch to warm up, right? It's Sanhok. It's just close quarter combat. It is reactionary play. It is just getting those hands, those arms, the fingers, everything warmed up as we move into the rest of today. But of course, some fantastic highlights brought to you by Oppo. And as we moved in, we saw Lag really picking up the pace from this point onwards. As you mentioned, it was a little bit of a risky play to be hunting out 4 eliminations like they did, but it garnered them such fantastic points that I don't think they'll be complaining anytime soon. And we know this final zone was an absolute chaotic battle of the heights, of the levels, of just the sheer chaos with the final players in these final moments. But what a beautiful finish it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a bit of excitement. And what made it so exciting is that we didn't know up until the very finish who the team was was going to lock in that winner chicken dinner. I mean, it could have gone any which way, but as we saw, it was going to be Ramsey to finish off walking in with that one. And I do actually believe that that was quite a favorable performance, especially looking at Team Mist's performance that we've had, right? They were trying to get themselves as many points as they can find. But of course, speaking about opportunities for teams to find themselves as many points, we are going to be moving into that double Erangel coming up right after a very quick break.
As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too.
Deep minds, we were forced to be alone. Unknowns and nowhere is the same. And even when it seems like there's no way out, we'll grow a little closer. Through water, we flow. All of us together, we're good, we flow. Nothing is the same, but I won't hold back. I won't hold back. I won't hold back. 'Cause we're better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one.
Hello and welcome back to day 3 of the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. This, of course, is our second phase, second week, as it also is known. And of course, we just concluded our very first match in which we saw the players there from Team Myth walking away with that winner chicken dinner. But let's take a look and see what the overall rankings now look like and where the teams find themselves. Team Titan so close to hitting that 200-point mark.
Yeah, 5 points away, getting very, very close. The rest of the teams, of course, still keeping it contentious, still keeping their points here, running away from the rest. Of course, as we know, Team Myth making a very, very good splash, picking up their first winner chicken dinner of this phase. And so far, it is still looking like it is so close that at any point in time, we won't really know who's going to be the top 12 until it's over. Some of the teams, of course, they're still trying to pick it up on the second page as well. We know a lot of teams are stepping up their game massively moving into the second phase.
Yeah, I mean, well, speaking about jumping up massively, right? Team Mist started off the day in 12th position. They now situated up in towards 7th, and that just based on one match, right? So there's still a lot of hope for these teams to come through. But as we now look onto our second page, we can see that Slime 4KT still holding on to that 9th position. Going to be coming in with a total of 61 points. So we do have a bit of a change up, but Desert Flame hard on their heels, followed very, very closely by Wave, Virtual Gaming, and Triple Esports.
Massive step ups, as we said, from these teams. I mean, it was literally last phase that we saw Desert Flame on the last page of the overall rankings. So already a massive improvement from them, long darkness as well. It's good to see them on that second page fighting for those top 12 spots. As we move into the last page, of course, our top 14, bottom 4 teams at the moment, who are looking to bring their best efforts through and hopefully shine as brightly as some of the other teams have so far.
Yeah, well, with a back-to-back Erangel, it could potentially be that opportunity for them to do exactly that. So we are getting much, much closer to jumping straight up into the action to see what our very first visit over on Erangel will have in store. And we don't have to wait any longer as we are making our way straight on through. Of course, we're going to be looking to see where that flight path will be gracing us with. And it does seem like it is leading a little bit more towards that western edge of the map. So that is going to bring somewhat of an impact to the teams that like to push all the way to that far eastern side. So Slime 4KT, for instance, won't be able to jump straight down in towards Yasnaya. Instead, they're going to have to bring a little bit of a change up with regards to that, drop location. But as we know also is, nothing stops the team from reaching where they want to reach. They can always just grab a vehicle and off they go.
Absolutely. Make a dash for their favorite opportunities and their favorite spots. Going to be probably seeing some of those secondary locations coming through from these teams, obviously because of that zone shift a little bit more towards the western side. So Virtual Gaming not going to be able to go all the way to Lapovka, rather opting for that Severny action. And a few of the other teams, a little bit closer to Georgia Pool and, Quarry side and Primosk, which is going to be a nice little bit of a change up. So some of the teams that we've seen so far really picking up their steps and really picking up the pacing. I mean, Myth, first winner chicken dinner of the phase.
Yeah, definitely a good one there for them. As we know, that is, of course, also then their third one overall. But now looking at where that zone has gone, taking that shift up towards the more northwestern side, right? I think this could be quite the position now. Once again, for Myth, they're already relatively close to that more centralized region. But the same could, of course, be said for Slime 4KT as well as the players coming in from the Super Young Stars. And as we know, this being match number 2, and the players there from Super Young Stars, alongside Mad Knight, Triple Esports, and VST Gaming being in Group E, this is their showcase match of the day.
Yeah, this is their debut for us to see what exactly they might have in store for us from that day of rest. Maybe a couple of changes, maybe the same. Who knows? For some of the teams, they don't really need to change much. Titans, not really needing to change anything, I would say. But some of the teams obviously looking to get up into those top 12 positions and get us that much closer to Livik. Taking a look at the rest of the teams and their rotations, I am a little bit worrisome there for Legends of War and Mad Knights, who do seem to be a little bit scattered closer towards Quarry. Maybe Flick just doing a little bit of a scouting maneuver, getting some information, but then going to fall back, waiting to see if that's going to just unfold into anything. Super Young Stars as well, not opting for that Severny drop, rather opting a little bit closer towards Slime 4KT's current position, taking control of those smaller compounds. You think this was intentional, just trying to avoid Virtual Gaming?
It could have been, right? Because it's not something we see happen too often. But as we know, also that flight path could have been playing a bit of a role in that, right? Nossa here going to be trying to catch up with the rest of the team, but it's going to be Murd and Winky not really waiting too much. Fortunately, they do get a bit of a quick pickup happening right there. But I think at this point, Super Young Stars could be aiming towards a position much closer towards shooting range instead of moving up towards Severny. I think at this time they've pretty much come to the conclusion that someone else might have gone to Severny. Of course, we know they don't have the information that we have, so that's just based on pure assumptions and, of course, rotational directions. But I'm loving the change-up coming here from Slime as well, right? Not full sending it all the way over into Yasnaya. Instead, stopping a little bit closer, but still maintaining their position within the zone instead of moving out of the zone to get that looting sorted.
Yeah, as we mentioned, it's also that boots on the ground strategy that these teams are bringing in. Titans absolutely love it as well. They try and get themselves onto the land as quickly as they possibly can, jumping into vehicles, whatever they need to, just so that they're basically there. They're ready. They can get themselves set up as soon as they possibly can. So, very interesting setup from these teams. Obviously, a few venturing out into the wilderness, looking for some loot there. We've got Seoul Esports and Arab Golden there towards Military Base Island. No shocker there. But what is going to be interesting is the choice of rotation. As we know, that Western Bridge is the closest dash to the zone, but it's also potentially going to be the most dangerous. With VST now just on the edge of zone, they can actually afford to spend a lot more time sitting and waiting around for those rotations.
Yeah, because they don't have to worry too much about it. Instead, they could set up a bit of a gatekeep there. I mean, they are, as you said, also relatively close to that bridge position. So I think there's going to be a little bit of pressure on Arab Golden and Seoul to pick the more appropriate bridge to try and push across. Because if they go west, they are going to be bumping straight in towards VST. But towards the eastern side, even though we have Titan holding up in the vicinity, I don't think Titan are going to be sticking around there for all too long, right? As we know, Titans, they like to try and play that kind of positioning game. So they are potentially going to be looking to get themselves a little bit better situated. And of course, now speaking about situations, we are seeing Blackjack losing at least one of their players to one round all the way up and towards those northern positions.
And what's interesting is, of course, Super Young Stars, they've also lost a member or two, making that same rotation, as you mentioned, closer towards shooting range. That parting, unfortunately, not leading them into the best of situations, but we'll keep an eye out on the northern parts of the island here, the main island, to see if that's going to continue into anything else. All three teams, they're in zone. They don't really have a need to sort of kind of fight for control. They've got a lot of space to work with, so I'm expecting those disengagements to come through quite quickly, hopefully. But yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting one for the rest of the teams moving on through into the rest of the map.
Yeah, there's going to be a few interesting plays definitely to come on in. But I'm liking this approach coming through here from Triple, right? They've got their eyes over on towards Everest, or at least Black 7 has. And 7 Reef coming in from that southern side. They could be meeting up on the high elevation. But a little bit further down south, it is going to be Legends of War and the players from VST. Again, finding themselves in relative close proximity, but VST, of course, prioritizing a little bit more of that eastern positioning, so not going to be opting and applying too much attention towards that western side. So a nice little bit of a break-off here as both teams kind of rotate away from that quarry situation and look to get themselves a little bit further up in towards that zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Get some good spacing, get yourself nice and comfortable, and set up in with at least within some portion of the zone. We do see quite a lot of action there towards that northwestern point, as we do see one round actually moving closer and closer towards Zaki. As we know, the drop location of Blackjack Esports, Super Young Stars, not too far off behind them as well. So curious to see if this is going to turn into anything. It does seem like one round are at least a little bit curious to see if they can pick up something a little bit earlier on. So, yeah, we gotta just keep an eye out to see if they're actually gonna send it at any point, or if they're just for the time being getting good information.
Well, I mean, they're doing their due diligence, right? So it's going to be up to them whether they choose to take those engagements. But of course, speaking about, choosing about engagements and altercations, Mad Knight and the players here from Legends, rather, are going to be finding themselves just having a bit of a look, a bit of a staring contest at each other. Meanwhile, Legends, they're not going to be sticking around all too long. Moving further north, and this is where things get quite interesting. Moving into this particular region, we know we've got a few ridges, we've got a few buildings, a few higher up positions, but Legends of War already taking a bit of that separation, right? Going into a 2-2 split, we can see two of the players taking that plunge, moving much further up, almost pulling all the way in towards that North George positioning, while the rest of the team are just trailing a distance behind them.
Yeah, North George is just looking to be a party at this point in time, with Zaki as packed as it is, and now maybe Legends of War joining as well. That might be a little bit crazy. We see most of the teams also making their rotation into zone. Thankfully for Arab Golden, VST have pulled off of that position, rather opting for that center zone. So they've got great space moving into the bridge line. We can see Seoul Esports also making their rotation just behind Titans. So hopefully they'll be able to avoid that altercation moving into the zone, because obviously they've already started taking a little bit of tick damage from that blue.
I mean, it's interesting to see Titans not really rotating up well ahead of that blue zone, instead hanging back a little bit longer there. But this could be that opportunity now for them to find a bit of a spray on towards Seoul, as we can see Seoul Esports trying to stick to that roadway. And of course, Titans are going to be coming in with their own slight bit of a pincer maneuver here, as we do have Hemo getting found out. Twix, YC, Rauf now trying to make that dash back up in towards safety. But they are going to be meeting the other half of this Titan split, and that could be the turning point for Titan to lock in even more so, because see P6 now turning all their attention over on towards Twix there, gets the confirmation. But now, it is going to be Seoul Esports reduced down to 2, and P6 just scoping in, waiting for those positions to line up.
Oh, it does hurt to lose a couple of players here and there. Raouf also just getting a bit of a haircut thanks to AXA, who has been on for the chase at this point in time, and still a massive dash into safety, trying to get themselves locked up and hopefully ready to continue with this Erangel, because it would very much not be a great situation if they were to go out here taking home those bubbles, all those donuts, however you want to look at it, and onto their leaderboards. And Seoul Esports especially, they started with some great aggression, so it would be quite the pity to see them leave.
Yeah, I mean, it would be quite the pity, but fortunately they are starting to split up their approach, so they could bring in a little bit of that extra longevity alongside with that. But speaking about longevity, right, as we now move over on towards the players here from Virtual Gaming, they are going to be rushing straight in alongside the super young stars. That first nade finding their way on towards Gaddafi, but now the rest of the team having to fend off these advances as one shot also now gets taken down, but a lot of pressure riding on the shoulders here of Winky. It is going to be a 1v2 position to play it at. Let's see. Could this be on the cards now for Winky? Great opportunity to try and push in and capitalize on that heal strat being played out now.
Getting good information, dropping down now, but the dash into the situation is not going to be an easy one. As we know, Zeus just holding the line, looking for any and every possible angle. Still Gaddafi to deal with, still Alpha Luigi to deal with. Winky really has her work cut out for her here if she's going to get back into the situation, because already the races are there. They are up to 4, maybe 3 and a bit with the HP bars, but it is still a 1-on-4 scenario here. And now with the nades coming on through, it is going to be a reign of terror.
Yeah, it is going to be quite a bit of reign of terror here, so Winky definitely going to be put to the test. NASA still in a position where they could be relaying some of that information, but Virtual Gaming, they're going to be looking to close that avenue down as they are pushing forward with a full send here. Alpha Luigi keeping that vantage point open. Winky now finding a trade here and there, but unfortunately it will not be sufficient as they do get overpowered. Virtual Gaming rushing on forward and just closing the door shut.
Not going to be the option that they were looking for, but of course Triple Esports and VST, or in particular Zaxi, with like basically 1 HP, trying to survive this crazy onslaught coming through from Triples. As the move comes on through, the trigger is there, and Black 7 will get the confirmation in a matter of moments at least, as the rest of VST, well, they are reduced to 3.
Yeah, well, 3 is better than none, right? They still have a bit of a fighting chance to play at here. We can see that extra bit of a spread coming through. But again, the team's now starting to prioritize those more northern positions. But fortunately, the zone shift has just centered up on itself, actually zone blessing Virtual Gaming and leaders. But I'm liking the position being held by Zero Tolerance, right? All the way down towards that sunken city. Still being within the zone, but at least for the time being somewhat uncontested.
No, left to their own devices, really. They have everything in opposition for them moving on through. But the rest of the teams also not joining that zone. We've still got Mad Knight, Blackjack Esports yet to make an approach into safety, because of course VST 1 round, they're right up ahead of them. So some good contention leading into these final moments that could see, those numbers dropping a little bit sooner than we would like, just because, well, some teams already set up and they're looking for those eliminations. And maybe even a couple of care packages, as Brody has spotted one out. Very, very tempting.
Yeah, I mean, it could be quite tempting, but it's also a little bit of a trap, right? As we know,
But it's
teams
tempting.
sometimes turn their attention onto those positions. And of course, now, speaking about temptation, Kingerman was tempted with trying to push away, but unfortunately that health bar was not going to be on the table, allowing that. Fivo, meanwhile, also now having to try and bring Itzerboot back into the fight. Tyson, the Beast, and Amawin having to push across this bridge to get themselves either up in towards North George, or they have to commit to that southern position and try and find another way to get themselves secured into the zone.
Yeah, I really don't like this for Mad Knight, I'll be honest, because the Beast is so far away, just the sheer numbers that they have to work with, and this pincer maneuver coming through here from the likes of VST, at least It's signaling a little bit of danger here for me, and hopefully Mad Knight will be able to make a dash out of the situation as swiftly as they possibly can, because the longer they sit around and wait, obviously with that blue, with the added pressure of the rest of the teams moving on through, it could spell some danger. But at least VST seems to be the first ones to run for that disengagement.
Ooh, well, I mean, we do see Atleno just keeping a very steady angle here. Finds a bit of a spray down there. Not locking in Tyson and Kingerman just yet, but does deliver quite a bit of damage on towards them. And of course, they are greatly assisted by this blue zone that they are fighting it out in. So let's see whether or not Atleno could be able to secure those nades. Of course, you can see quite a few of the smokes now being employed. That one is going to be on the money as Kingerman gets taken down. But Atleno slowly is starting to run out of those utilities and now needs to find a little bit of an alternative approach.
Oh, moving on in for the spray down. Tyson making a desperate dash into the finish. Who's going to be the quickest? Oh, it doesn't look like it's going to be Tyson because Atleno is just on the cards. And this is why I was curious to see why VST went for that disengagement, because they had Atleno in this flanking position. They had a prime pincer maneuver here. And I was honestly stressing for Mad Knight. Well, now I'm just proven right, unfortunately, as Amowin and the Beast do find themselves right in between darkness.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a bit of contention coming through as we still have 15 teams left, 51 players scattered throughout the remainder of this playable area. Zero tolerance now going up against the players from Arab Golden on towards that southern side. Mad Knight going to be looking to get themselves secured up in towards the north. But it's going to be up to Darkness, the players there from Virtual Gaming, as well as One Round to keep them on their toes. But now the altercation down south will continue as we can see Angelo finds the spray right up in towards Skydo. And that alleviates so much pressure for them. But of course, Paradox is still in play.
Oh, I love this. Once again, we find zero tolerance on this bridge line position. Unfortunately, this time, it looks like Arab Golden have turned the tables on them and immediately taken their strats and, well, applied it in a way that zero tolerance was not ready for and not happy with either. So it will be Paradox and Lord making a dash into the zone, into safety. They will be fine for the time being. In the meanwhile, Titans and Virtual Gaming, they're having a little bit of punch buggies, a little bit of bumper cars.
Oh, I'm loving this teamwork coming through from Titans. One rolls over the player, the other one takes them down. Of course, now quickly just jumping out to meet Virtual Gaming right here in the compound. It is now up to one shot and Gaddafi holding on to that front line position. But Titans, again, looking quite phenomenal here. Already 5 eliminations to their name. Still all 4 players in the game. And now they're going to be looking to lock down at least this northern edge of the zone.
I have to agree with you. A phenomenal start coming through here from Titans as they move on through, and I love the bumper cars. Right? That is my favorite strat, and no one can tell me different. Just as you love, car explosions, bumper cars for me any day of the week. Slime 4KT, they've moved into this at least location here close to Virtual Gaming and Titans. Of course, we know Slime 4KT down to at least 3 players, so they're still in heavy contention for anything at this point in time. One round, of course, they've got the pressure because they're trying to go up this ridgeline, and unfortunately, they're going to have to face down not only Mad Knight, but Darkness as well for this position.
Yeah, and that's going to require quite a bit of information to be secured at least for one round to make a successful push here. But I'm loving this slight bit of a spread out that they've got. Eflex, of course, is going to be roaming around in that bucket, just trying to gather that additional bit of information. Meanwhile, Darkness also adopting a very similar kind of approach. But, I mean, Legends of War going to be just hunkering down, instead looking to creep themselves closer, but they are going to get found out as the shots connect on through, and it is going to be Flick now to get taken down next. But now the pressure turns onto the rest of the crew. Mowing and Powerboy really have to play these positions so cautiously.
Yeah, this is going to be a fight for the hilltop here. King of the Hill coming through a different mode in PUBG Mobile, perhaps. Who knows? Darkness, of course, they are holding such a good split right now. That 2-2 split really allows them to try and hunker down and get the eliminations. But one round, hello! We are welcoming the beautiful spray downs as they are fighting back and they're giving Darkness a run for their money.
Oh, it's a very fair exchange coming through here. We do see also then the players there from Triple Esports getting sent off. But now the action will continue as Darkness and, of course, Legends of War going to be keeping a very steady position here. One round, still looking to find that gain, right? Still waiting for these options, these angles to line up so they can make that push. But the zone shifting up in their favor is going to be allowing a continuation of its efforts, especially looking at what we've got coming in between the players here from Darkness and one round. You can add Legends of War into the mix, and maybe if you really want to go so far as you can also then add in Mad Knight.
I definitely add Titans into the mix right now because they're coming through from that eastern portion, also looking for a bit of that contention, looking for a bit of those fights. One round now holding the line here against Darkness as they look for that payback and hopefully to push back one round as they approach on through and are starting to take a fantastic portion of control of this northern zone.
Yeah, well, it's all going to come down to who's able to maintain the majority of this position, as we can now can see, right? Myth also moving into the fray, rotating up that northern edge. But Darkness having a quick opportunity here just to get a bit of a reset, just to get those health bars adjusted. But now, Chico not going to be letting any of that slide for the time being. Instead, they're going to be moving further and further forward, hoping for an opportunity to line itself up. Escanor so close to getting hit with those shots. But fortunately, the smoke is providing that extra additional layer of coverage. Meanwhile, now we do see Soul getting taken down, but up comes the spray downs as one round and Darkness ascend into chaos.
Oh, and it's just going to continue at this point in time. Again, you might be done with one team, but there's another lurking around the corner. Zala with a quick turnaround, even onto Escanor, takes 2 down from one round, as it's only E-Flex now to hold the line, but thankfully they managed to find the connection. Darkness will be leaving us and going back to the lobby, but of course Legends of War and Myth, their story is not over whatsoever. They are still in contention for this northern portion of the zone, and Myth especially are looking for a good navigation into zone.
Yeah, it does seem like Myth, they do have the numbers advantage moving in here, going up against the 2 hopefuls, rather 3 hopefuls coming through there from Legends of War. But further down south, it is going to be Arab Golden now rushing straight on in as Carryboy tries to close it out, but Angelo just overpowering with the spray downs, clutching it out for the team. Now, of course, 2 remaining hopefuls are here for Arab Golden. It's going to be Angelo and Ilias. Now looking to see if they can keep the hopes and dreams alive. Meanwhile, Titans are going to be moving ever closer, finding the angles down on towards the players there from Slime. As you can see, Storm now getting traded. Up to Plaza it goes. Who's going to be making that dash, trying to get themselves situated back in towards the zone, but still a very treacherous terrain to try and move about.
Titans also splitting up, trying to cover the most amount of ground possible because they know there is a plethora of teams that they could be taking apart here, and those eliminations are already showing how aggressive and how active they've been in managing those angles. Now moving on through from this eastern portion of the zone, relatively uncontested. It's only 0 tolerance really, but now Myth, tables have turned.
Yes, the turns have indeed tabled, and up comes the Legends of War. Merwing is going to fall to the spray down there as Momin is not going to allow too much of that aggression to follow through. But a great bounce back coming through here from Legends of War. Flick, of course, right there on the front line, trying to keep the aggression as tight as they can find it. E-Flex Knight now having to find a bit of an alternate approach to make, still keeping their eyes locked over on towards Legends of War, but also trying to find a bit of an alternative way to get themselves maybe flanked around or positioned up into that zone.
Our boy and Fleck looking for the options here. As you can see, their focus is split. It's either Myth or it's one round that is going to be a cause for concern. In the meanwhile, Titans are making, it even worse because they're looking for this northern position now, pulling up right behind Myth and looking to get involved.
Oh, Teague definitely getting involved. But up comes the rest of Titans now just rushing on forward. It is going to be Ramsey. You get taken down alongside the rest of the team, and off they go. Myth not in the running for the winner chicken dinner any longer. But yes, Teague just absolutely obliterating the opposition here, moving on forward, finding that spray onto his Power Boy. But now all the pressure for Legends of War turns onto Flick, who could still have a beautiful angle coming through. But Teak, look at that, just doing the due diligence, sending out all those utilities, trying to ensure that the edge of zone is clear.
Oh, Titans, they have literally just thrown this stalemate right out the window and said, it's enough. This is our portion. This is our control. And they're going to push on even further as Teak looks for that remaining member here of Legends of War. And, Flick is going to be up with a little bit of bumper car action as that confirmation does come through. 0 tolerance out for the count alongside Legends of War here. And we look to Titans as the highest numbered team, the highest amount of players in this final zone.
Yeah, it's going to be yet another phenomenal finish coming through here for Titans. Already just blazing their way on through, sitting on those 12 eliminations. It is going to be Angelo, though, to find that head up on towards Knight. And Arab Golden trying to push in from that southern edge. I mean, nothing wrong with just clearing out the way ahead of them. But Eflex trying to snake it through in the grass. Very, very tough position to make any substantial game from. But is going to get run straight on over as P6 pushes in and down they go. One round getting eliminated. Titans now looking to lock in the dominance as they move through the zone. Going up against the two final teams, right? Arab Golden and Mad Knight.
And Arab Golden, they're still trying to get their numbers up, and Adam and Teak is already looking for their next victim, already spotting out the remaining member here of Arab Golden. It's Angelo, who actually turns it around.
Oh, could this be the point now? Could this be the play? Angelo going into a 1v, well, many players. We see Amawin also about to see a bit of a nade coming in their direction, and down they go. Titans locking in yet another glorious win for themselves. Of course, walking away with an absolutely insane amount of eliminations, sitting on 18. What a way for Titans to just step up and show their dominance once again.
Hey, we've got one winner chicken dinner. We just need one more, and then Titans will be continuing their reign of domination and terror for 3 days in a row. So, massive start to the day here for Titans, bringing in the bumper cars, bringing in the eliminations, bringing in the absolute insane aggression there. So, fantastic work from Titans, but of course we know, well, that's only the second map of the day. We still got 3 more and another Erangel to immediately follow this one. So hopefully the teams will be taking a bit of a note as to what just happened and not letting it happen again.
Well, at least we know moving into our next Erangel, right? It is going to be a little bit of a change up because we are going to be having the players from Group D joining us on the battlefield and the players there from Group C sitting it out. So Arab Golden leaders as well as Seoul Esports and Zero Tolerance are going to be taking a little bit of a break, and we will be seeing the players there from Desert Flame, 1 Million Lag, as well as Wave Esports joining us out on the field. So expecting quite a bit of excitement to come through that, but you got to say, right, Titans just showing up so phenomenally once again. And this is kind of, I don't know, a very scary trend we see developing here. Titans, once they find that role, once they find that approach, I mean, it's just absolute laser focus stepping through from them. And of course, speaking about that laser focus, we need to give a big shout out to Monster Energy as well, our official energy drink partner right here for the PUBG Mobile Pro Leagues. But aside from Monster Energy, we also need to show quite a bit of love going out to Oppo. So Born to Win, welcome to the exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much loved Reno 7 series. And again, speaking about those gamer modes, is Titans just absolutely riding high on that wave.
Absolutely, and the momentum they're going to take into this next Erangel might be absolute massive. Might be seeing Titans continuing their streak, as we know they've been picking up 2 winner chicken dinners every single day so far in Phase 2, which is a ridiculous title to be holding. I'm very curious to see if they're going to continue it. At this point, you know, the question was in my mind, is Titans going to bring that, you know, domination back? Because on Sanhok, we saw that change coming through. It was a different answer. But now onto a bigger map, now onto, you know, some more familiar territory, we're seeing Titans picking up that same energy once again.
Yeah, they're going to be quite the troubling force to try and deal with here. And as we saw looking at our points, the only team at this point that could step up and bring in quite a bit of opposition to them could potentially be the players there from leaders. But let's take a look at our match rankings to see how many points these teams were able to secure. And unfortunately, you know, we're not seeing the players from the side of leaders being on this first page. However, we do see Arab Golden rising to the occasion, coming through with those 9 eliminations, half that of what Titans brought in. But, you know, that's Titans being Titans all the way to till next Monday, I'd say. But of course, 1 round also securing themselves those 13 placement points, 13 points in total. And Mad Knight locked in with not a single elimination, but at least walking out here with 12 points to their name.
And swiftly followed there by Legends of War. So again, we're not seeing leaders here, but we're also seeing Legends. So there's a bit of a switch up coming through here. Legends at least making a bit of a dash, a bit of a split coming through. Zero Tolerance also finding themselves in 6th place. So a very good amount of points, I would say, to the latter half of the overall standings, which means, once again, teams are stepping it up, which is what we love to see. And well, yeah, I have no words for Titans at this point in time. I feel like I'm just going to avoid them, just avoid analyzing them for as long as I can.
But we can also see those efforts coming through from Myth and Virtual Gaming, right? Still lining in those 5 eliminations each. So that shows, even though they are not finding themselves in those more optimal placement points, they can still line up the aggression, still, you know, keep up the push, keep up the fight, and lock in those constant and steady flow of points. And at the end of the day, you know, that consistency, that continuous repeat play could be quite favorable. But of course, we need to take a look now and see what our second page looks like. So we can see VST and leaders sitting on 5 points apiece.
Yeah, picking up great eliminations, as we can see, as we know them to be able to do. But it's not the ridiculous eliminations. It's not the ridiculous point games, but that's okay. Just any sort of points at this point in time, they do make a difference. So Darkness, Slime for KT as well, with Soul Esports, Triple Esports. Again, it's weird to see these names on this side, based on what we've seen in the previous games, even into last phase as well, but it is going to happen as the teams are raising their bars, as all teams are adapting and trying to better themselves throughout PMPL Africa. We are going to see these shifts. We are going to see these roller coasters in terms of performance. The only team right now that I would exempt from that is Titans.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be quite a few teams having to step it up and continue with that flow and that show of aggression. But whether or not we'll be able to see anyone else double down on these efforts is going to be, it will remain to be seen, right? I mean, so far in the previous 2 days, the team that has really brought in quite a bit of an upset to this was the players from Leaders. But so far, looking at what they've been able to accomplish today, it seems like they're having a little bit of a tough day. So we're going to have to see if anyone else could potentially step up and, you know, maybe fill in that gap. Because if Titans are not dealt with soon enough, right, they are going to just be securing such an insane lead that I don't think anyone else is really going to be able to catch up to them.
Absolutely not. But while we rest our voices and while we try and process what exactly Titans just managed to do, we're going to take a short break while we get the second Erangel of the day ready for your eyes.
Stalemate? No problem. Ultimate Arena decides the victor.
Feel it the same way I do. As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. Just say that you'll be. Say that you'll be. I'd be there for you whenever you need me. But you've been holding back. Maybe you're just not ready. Baby, do you feel the same? Or do you feel the pressure? I promise I can take your pain and turn it into pleasure. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do?
Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. Of course, we saw some pretty insane plays coming through with Titans stepping up, claiming yet another winner chicken dinner. But now, as we're getting ready to move over into our second Erangel of the day, we're going to be looking to see whether or not they are going to be replicating those efforts once again. As you said, as so far Titans have been coming in with those winner chicken dinners, 2 chickens a day. I don't know how healthy that is, right? That's quite a bit of chicken, though.
It's a lot of chicken, so yeah, their diets aside, Titans have definitely been putting in the consistent effort. So let's see if they are hungry for some more chicken.
Well, I mean, all will be revealed pretty soon, but again, right, it's going to be that opportunity for anyone to try and step up and steal those chickens. They are still up for grabs, and it could still go to any particular person or any particular team for that matter. But as we know, right, this being match number 3, it is going to be Group C sitting it out, as I said before. So we're not seeing any leaders esports currently on the board. As you have it there, Arab Golden, Soul Esports, and Zero Tolerance going to be joining them in that quick little break that they are going to be taking. But look at the gap, though. It's almost on 100 points between Titans and their closest contenders being leaders esports.
Yeah, so, as we mentioned, if Titans aren't going to be dealt with anytime soon, then, well, they can run away. But they're already doing that. They're already managing 100-point gap, which is ridiculous. Again, the fact is that they picked up 100 points in the first day.
Yeah.
So just that one day alone has already set themselves so apart from the rest. But it's just not stopping here for Titans. I don't see an end to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's glorious for Titans, right? As we can see them also occupying the highest damage point there, as well as
top players,
the
top this,
headshots.
top that, top this.
Yeah, I mean, so Titans on top, right? That is just some TNT dynamite coming through from them. But of course, speaking about that dynamite, the TNT, we are going to be looking at a very comfortable zone, super complementary to the flight path itself. But of course, it is going to be 1-9. Oh, putting a bit of a spray up in towards Puncher, but not sufficiently so as the rest of the Titans come rushing on forward, stopping that approach right there in its tracks. But the rest of the lag team, we can see them just situated a little bit more on towards that western side. So yeah, I don't know whether or not lag is going to be the team to step up and, try to be a little bit of an opposition to the side of Titans. Maybe it could be Myth. In fact, it could be anybody at this point in time. But of course, one thing that we've been wanting to see a little bit more of, that we have been seeing quite a bit of before, was this altercation coming through between Virtual Gaming and the Super Young Stars all the way up in towards Savoni.
Absolutely. We've been seeing a very good jump of aggression, but of course now we know Super Young Stars, Virtual Gaming, they're no strangers. They've been doing this dance for a little while. Blackjack Esports doing another dance with Legends of War. Seems another nemesis has joined the block. At least we know the duos here. Well, Wave Esports, sorry, coming through. So, this is going to be a little bit of a tough one here for Blackjack. Unfortunately, losing a member almost immediately. And Wave, they're looking very confident to continue this.
I'm loving the VSS action that we have happening across the board, but I mean, it is looking quite dire for Blackjack, right? Because we've got Legends positioned up into the apartment building. We've got the players from Wave on the opposite end. So a very tight pincer position that Blackjack actually finds themselves caught up in, but maybe they could be able to bring in a little bit of an escape play, as we can see them now just opting into those vehicles and looking to maybe just engage entirely. But of course, speaking about that, right, lag also just continuously moving themselves up. We did see Fantasy and A9 being situated much further down towards the south, and now they've rotated up much further, but even closer now to Darkness.
Oh, loving this Virtual Gaming, of course, and Super Young Stars. It is the original Nemesis duo that we've been seeing so far in PMPL Africa Fall. And again, it is that rematch. Constantly when we see this, I'm still putting Super Young Stars on the back foot because they still need to win a couple before, these two get tied. Virtual Gaming taking a very similar approach to what we've seen in the past before as well. But of course, Super Young Stars rocking it with a slight roster change. So maybe there's a little bit of a different tactic coming through this time around.
Well, only time will tell us which one it will be, but Messi just missing out on that opportunity to find A little bit of a cheeky spray. It is going to be Gaddafi now, getting themselves all hyped up and ready to roll. But a slow, steady position being held here by Virtual. Not going to be pushing up too aggressively on the Super Young Stars. Instead, it seems like Virtual are going to be waiting patiently for the Super Young Stars to make their play and then come in with a response on that.
That is the hope at this point in time. Just going quiet, getting some information. While, of course, we know Virtual Gaming opting for that 3-1 split, trying to get a very good line of sight. As we can see, that's that one on that 3-1 split. It is the form of Zeus just punneling Nossa at this point in time as they're trying to get a good line of sight onto Alpha Luigi. And the rest of the squads, of course, they're just holding that line. Ooh, that nade just narrowly missing Gaddafi as well.
Yeah, that flashbang, doing a little bit of flash, but no bang coming in with that. Instead, Winky now tries to send up a little bit more. I think that was yet again. Oh, no, that was the smoke. But up comes Murd now, trying to see if they can get the push on towards one shot. One shot. No armor whatsoever. They are going to be going up, stepping to the challenge. But it's going to be Winky to succeed in finding that rush outcome. A bit of a window shot. But Gaddafi will get greeted mid-air.
Yeah, it's very brave, but at this point in time, Super Young Stars are just hot on the trigger. Very quick recovery from them, and it has to be so, as Alpha Luigi is going to be the first one to push on up. Out the window they go. Does a great amount of damage, but doesn't find the connection. We still have one. We still got Nossa up. We still got Winky up. We still got a third roaming on through with that backup.
Up comes Alpha Luigi, locking in that security. But now look at the Super Young Stars. Their health bars so low. And of course, Alpha Luigi and Zeus, they still have a crazy amount of health left to play with here. So there's going to be a lot of pressure now on Nossa and Winky. But fortunately, Winky is able to just patch up that health bar somewhat. But Nossa not so successful or not so fortunate as the nade comes through, ending it right there for them. But let's see what the rest of Virtual are going to bring on through. A little bit of a peer in the window, trying to find that opportunity on towards Winky. But Winky now trying to make a bit of a dash. Oh, up comes the heads. Great bit of anticipation. Finds a healthy amount of damage, but that is not going to be sufficient. But Alpha Luigi narrowly escaping, getting knocked out right there.
Yeah, that could have gone either way. In all honesty, Alpha Luigi on a sliver of HP. And once again, we see, all of Super Young Stars is, just tidings running on one single player to take it even forward. So it was very good there. It was a good catch-up for Super Young Stars, I feel like. But just those final moments could have gone one way or another. But we'll just give it up to Virtual Gaming for this time. Rest of the teams making fantastic rotations. I'm going to utter this again because we've got pretty much, other than Virtual Gaming, every single squad in zone.
Yes, that is a really, really good position to be in. But I'm loving the center zone play coming through here, right? Desert Flames starting to spread themselves out a little bit. We got a decent approach coming up in towards this Chopsticks region. So that 2-2 split being played on here. And that could be quite favorable, especially looking at where we have 1 million situated, right? Senke and the rest of the crew just going to be casually strolling on through. Flacco keeping a bit of an eye here, trying to get themselves set up. Hoping for an opportunity, bit of a vantage point to be played out here. Plaza also just on the roof. Just going to be keeping a watchful eye, right? Not going to be jumping at any of these plays just yet, showing that trigger discipline.
Absolutely, and it's a really good habit to have at this point in time because, as you mentioned, we were loving this slow and methodical approach coming through from the teams as they're just trying to get information. They're great. We know where these teams are not going to get involved just yet because they want to jump into the engagements only when they know they have the best possible odds, the best possible winning conditions of actually taking the win, taking the engagement, picking up the eliminations, and being able thereafter to move on forward. So I'm loving just the general strategy that these teams are bringing in.
Yeah, the discipline is looking really, really satisfying here. I got to say, it's quite commendable to see the teams showing that level of growth, right? Not going to be jumping just at any opportunity just for the sake of, oh, it moved, now I've got to shoot it, right? Instead, they're looking to play out these strategies, which really shows a lot more of that, not only the methodical process, but also the teams putting so much more effort into their actions instead of being reactive to what's happening.
It's the growth that we've been waiting to see for PMPL Africa. And already from last season to this, massive changes. Just in from last phase to this phase, massive changes from the teams. So great to see that coming up through one round now, keeping a watchful eye on Wave Esports as they make their approach across the bridge, and they thankfully do so. So into Rozak they find themselves hopefully safe for the next couple of engagements, but night has gone down.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough position to be playing this in. Of course, Ivar going to be trying to lay on that pressure as we see Chico now trying to stop Knight from saying night. But also we have a few altercations now developing elsewhere. Several teams starting to move up. We got the players from VST and Triple Esports all the way down on that far southern edge. We got the players there from Blackjack and 1 million, or rather a Desert Flame and 1 million, situated towards that western edge of Pachinki. But one round, not going to be pushing up just yet, right? They've laid down a little bit of fire on towards Wave, situated up in towards Rozak. But instead, they are going to be keeping their eyes peeled for another potential play to be had.
Ooh, and I do like this again. Ooh, but it's fine. We'll talk about that later. Now, Desert Flame making a bit of a dash across Myth, and Myth is holding a 2-2 split here. So it's only Broly and Farok that's currently holding this line. Momin and Ramsey much further out to the outskirts here of Pachinki. So Myth have to be very careful with how they approach these sort of engagements because, again, the cavalry is not here. The backup is not an option.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of calculations that needs to come through on that front. But let's see where this one is going to be going towards, of course, now. TEAMLAG, oh, trying to line up the sides here. Up comes the rush. There's the Flame pushing straight on forward. They do succeed in taking down the first one. And in fact, they do succeed in taking down the entirety of the remaining players here for Lag. But again, that could be a little bit of a short-lived moment, as we do have Blackjack just on the opposite end of the valley, keeping a very watchful eye. They, of course, have their ears just perched. Of course, there's the players from Darkness up on towards Potato Hill. A bit of a vantage point to be played there. But now, up comes Wave, moving in. Legends of War, hunkering down in their compounds. You can see Flick now, keeping their eyes absolutely peeled on the compounds ahead. Waiting to see what Wave is going to be doing. But I'm loving this caution being brought through by Wave. Not going to be rushing out, getting caught out foolishly outside. Instead, they move in, trying to find a bit of an angle. But they couldn't have anticipated that play coming through from Legends of War. Lining up the shots, hitting them in. And just looking to reduce the numbers one by one as they steadily move on forward.
And of course, Legends of War, they have their back to the zone here. Wave coming through from that outskirt position. They're in zone, they've got space, but Legends of War, they have a quicker dash into the safety. And for the time being, they're not going to be interrupted. They can take their time. They're in zone. They have the space to work with. They have the hard cover, so they can really invest into potentially taking out another competitor, just, giving them that breathing room, moving into the latter stages, which can be a massive, massive bonus before we even think about the elimination points. Ooh. Okay.
Yo, gotta
Even
love
better.
that zone. Yes. This is where it's going to be at, right? A beautiful centering zone on towards Pachinki. 1 million jumping at the opportunity. Now just going to come flying on through. I'm expecting them maybe to stay over on towards this western side, or maybe they could surprise us and try and just get themselves spread out even more so. But it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride, especially looking at the team situated on that eastern edge. But Wave and the players here from Legends of War will continue with the onslaught, right? Getting in that trade, both sides. This is where the challenge comes through. Who will be the team to secure that next position?
Oh, Flick, I'm sorry, but that nade was just too good. Powerboy and Irving rather, are looking now to hopefully recover the situation, as we do have that flank coming on through here. Unfortunately, Obessa not really in a position to jump into the action just yet, but they have a really good line of sight here to Wave Esports here within the warehouse position. Now, Powerboy moving, they're taking account of what's occurred, of course, but in this hesitation, in trying to take the information as much as they can, that gives Wave the opportunity to not only reset, not only get their own information, but get the HP bars back up to where they need to take another altercation.
Yeah, but again, these positions proving to be quite challenging, right? Neither team wants to be the next one to fall on down. We are still sitting with 14 teams left. But fortunately, for Legends of War and Wave, they can actually continue this altercation as we're not seeing any other teams really venturing up in towards this northern territory. Meanwhile, we do have a little bit of that altercation action coming in on the east edge between Virtual Gaming and the players there from Slime 4KT, but it's not going to be an immediate threat. Maybe Zeus could come rolling through, as we see Zeus now just all the way down on that southern edge, but I don't see many other teams really committing to getting involved in this altercation.
You're talking about immediate threats. I'm just seeing Darkness moving on through, and they are punneling shots into Legends of War from that high-rise position. As we can see, they gave it a couple of warning shots, but they definitely are looking to take that even further. So now Legends of War, unfortunately, they're sandwiched. They have all the pressure riding on their shoulders.
Well, I mean, maybe they can cope with this pressure. We'll have to wait and see. It definitely does force them to rethink their strategy as to how they want to try and secure this compound. But again, right, Wave not going to be backing out of the opportunities. You can see D3S and Zakaria getting themselves prepped up for a bit of that push. Owlboy waiting steadily, about to get that welcoming committee running. Oh, the shots, of course, connects on through. It is going to be Powerboy to fall. And now Merwing comes in with a bit of a vengeance. But unfortunately, they too fall to the sprays coming through. And now all the hopes turn to the final remaining player here for Legend of War.
And Obesa, they were holding the flanking position. They were holding the information line here for Legends of War. And unfortunately, because of that pincer, because of that shift in Legends of War and their approach into the situation, again, assisted by Darkness, it's landed in, well, last man standing syndrome here for Obesa, who are still in zone. They still have an opportunity to potentially rotate on out. Slime 4KT now moving into this northern section as well might force the issue, but we turn our attention here to Triple and 1 million with 1 million looking like they're on a little bit of a back foot. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they don't seem to be two-faced, right? They still have two players providing that extra layer of coverage, but Senkei now cooking up those nades. We did see Venom also coming through with a beautiful one way on towards 7 Reef. M7 also getting traded right on down. And this is such a bounce back defensive coming through from 1 million.
Oh, that nade was massive. I mean, I was thinking the back foot is here for 1 million because it was just two of them. It was just Venom. It was just Senkei. But of course, who was I? Who was I to think that this was going to happen? Just absolutely marvelous work coming through from 1 million esports. Those are the teams, of course. They're looking to one-up this as well as Titans move on through right alongside VST, who are very, very hungry to pick up some great eliminations here. Titans down to 3 members, the nades raining on through, and Axa, unfortunately, in a little bit of a further position. Could prove great in dividends in terms of those flanking positions, but again, the fight will be within a building, closed off, angles limited. Oh, it's okay. Names. It is just names today. But Titans, they've already picked up those 2 eliminations, and they're holding strong. Axe just trying to reach across and give their teammates some just openness here, just some space, some breathing room to get those HP bars back up. And it will work, but now VST, they've got the trigger. They need to get this altercation done and dusted.
Let's see where this one will lead. It is going to be Teak now on the defensive, looking to just fend off VST's pushes here. But again, right, not a super full-on send coming through from Titans. Instead, having to play this one way more calculated. I'm loving VST just stepping up to the party, looking to line up these angles, and with that, potentially find a few of those additional points. Let's see, will the utilities reign supreme? No, not reaching all the way in. But at Leno, trying to now move up. But you can see we do have a few smokes now getting deployed, as well as Titans are setting themselves up for a bit of a retreat back to the safety of AXA.
Oh, and mulling off that window just limits Titans' approach. They don't really have an exit strategy right now. They want to make a dash for the window, but they don't know who's holding that bottom line, who's sitting at the bottom just waiting for that jump to come on through. Teak looking for an opportunity here, but it will be wasted as 3-4 members of VST now jump into the fray.
Oh, but it's not over just yet. It is going to be up to Punch now, looking to get this locked in. We see Fivo coming up with an S12K. Nice little bit of a suppressor on it as well. But Axum joining the party here. Vaults in the window. Down they go. VST now still looking to keep up the contention here. Puncher going to be moving up to Teak, trying to lock in that race. We can see Zuxi now falling to the damage. But it all now rides on its boot, and Titan just holding on for dear life. But now it's going to come that push opportunity as they are going to be looking to capitalize. Pancher strafing on up. Oh, gets taken right on down, but it's a boot. Gets taken down with that off-angle push and that nade coming through.
Again, where did... Oh, it was a self-net. Yikes. Sorry for that one. But yeah, Titans and VST just out for the count. They cleaned each other up. Desert Flame, of course, finding Blackjack. So it's okay, DK. We will be managing these names now. Your two nemesis have come through. But it is a great opportunity here for Desert Flame moving on through. They do have a tough time right now, I would say, to take that southern approach because it's Mad Knight, it's Blackjack Esports. There's a lot of teams to fight here.
Yeah, but of course, look at Slime now, just rushing straight on forward. Broly, got to keep that window under lockdown. Up comes Storm, trying to crash to the party. It's not Uber coming through. Let's see, who will it be? Instead, it is the Molly. Finds a little bit of damage, but nothing too drastic on towards Broly. Trying to quickly just patch up. While staring down the flames, but of course, up comes the nade. It is going to be that final closer right there, and it is the end, at least now, for Myth in this match. But again, looking at what we've got coming through so far, it's going to be a very, very tantalizing zone for teams to fight on through.
I was going to say Broly had no business staying alive in that situation, but that final nade was the confirmation. Mad Knight down to only one member, still up and Adam trying to get the reses coming through, but of course Slime 4KT now taking this position right behind them does provide quite a worrisome opportunity here for either side. Of course, we know rotations still have to be made into the zone. Desert Flame yet to join in a comfortable position. 1 million taking such great real estate here just on the outskirts of zone. So they also will have to relocate at a moment's notice. But it's Blackjack that's also just not finding that angle. And I'm focusing on Darkness right now, who are center zone and looking very comfortable.
Yes, they are indeed looking quite comfortable, but that doesn't mean anything at this point in time. There's still quite a few teams that can look to bring in a few of those disruptions on through, but I'm loving this 2-2 split coming through here from Blackjack. Yeah, well, that's Blackjack's only 2 players now left on the edge as MG has been confirmed on through. Venom from 1 million alongside the rest of the squad, still positioned just outside that zone, but this could be the opportunity for Reverb and Chronal now to just make it so dang difficult for them to get on in. You can see the attempt being played here, but up comes the rush. Lazy Boy Senge rushing full on forward. Down goes the head though. Oh, but Chronal falls as Lazy Boy just plays it around that truck and finds quite the formidable angle. Of course, also Desert Flame will be meeting their end, and we are down to our final 6 teams. But still, Darkness on the very edge of zone now, kind of trying to leverage their position against one round's advances.
They've got some great height here. They've got some great line of sight so they can really utilize as one round. Unfortunately, have to make the dash up the hilltop here. And it's going to be a little bit of a tough one, especially with the 2-2 split. The Darkness are really running with trying to just maximize the amount of angles they actually have to work with here. Hopefully, we'll see some pressure might be jumping in as 1 million and also just taking that rotation right behind them.
Oh, let's see. Could this be the one? Could this be the one? Darkness now going to have their hands full on either side should 1 million decide to push in their direction. Fortunately, it does seem like 1 million is focusing their efforts over on towards Slime, while Slime is focusing onto Wave. It's a bit of a trifecta play happening on that end. But down south, or down north, right, it's going to be one round and Darkness creeping closer and closer to each other. Ghost stepping out with a few of those straights, not finding the most ideal angles. It's going to be up to Night now to follow through, looking to see if they can maybe find a bit of a position to play at. They do succeed, picking up Zazal. Down they go. Up comes Ghost, the next potential player, up for a bit of a knock action. Chico, oh, on the full-on send. Escanor comes through with a UMP. And now Darkness having to rethink this entire approach.
Yeah, Darkness not winning their one-on-ones. Unfortunately, it's one round that are just making the plays. It's Knight moving on forward to look for Tornado, to look for Iron. At any point, either one will count at this time. One round. They are surrounding Darkness. They're not giving them an option to get out of here. Slime for KT taking out Wave almost nearly. And here's the final push coming through from Chico, just looking for the snakes in the grass.
Oh, but up comes Iron, finds the hit, but down they go. Down goes Chico. Escanor now looking to push in, looking to close this party on up, but 1 million also going to be stepping into the action here as we see them now just advancing up on that elevated position. Meanwhile, Slimeville KT will get sent away as Senke lights it up with an absolutely glorious nade. Up comes Marshall, trying to capitalize on the third-party angles here. Eflex now feeling that pressure. The smoke starts to dissipate. Escanor, Eflex having to rethink the strategy as Darkness is not there anymore, right? It is now just them face-to-face with 1 million. And of course, Zakaria from Wave just sneaking themselves up on towards that eastern side of zone. But a lot of the focus now maintained up on towards this northern edge.
And of course, a massive focus here towards 1 million Esports running away with 18. I repeat that, 18 eliminations currently. Center zone looking absolutely poised for perfection here. But it will be up to one round. It will be up to, well, at least a lonesome here from Wave Esports to see what they can do to stop 1 million from moving on forward. Now, Venom making a little bit of a dash, might make that dash straight into Zakaria, and then it's only our top two, and over we go. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's done. It's just one round. It's 1 million.
Yeah, it is signed, sealed, delivered. We are back on the one-on-one action. We've only seen this once before, but up comes 1 million, trying to sneak their way on through. One round on the receiving end, but it is going to be Eflex with a very warm welcome, but also then falls on down. Escanor puts the shots on through, and with that, the match goes straight over. The players there from 1 million, securing themselves 21 eliminations. Just breaking the record that we've seen in one particular match by such an insane margin.
Okie dokie, Smoky. Wow. Yeah, no, 1 million. There's not much more I want to say other than looking at those ridiculous numbers, but it's good to see them return. I'm going to say that. It is good to see 1 million jumping back on top with a game like that. This is some crazy domination. Again, following suit with Titans. Titans are going to step up if they want that, the most eliminations, in one particular map coming on through.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a matter of time until we saw the players there from 1 million returning to their absolute glory and the amazing show of dominance that they had coming through in that very first phase, the very first week. But of course, that was in the early stages, right? Day 1, day 2, we saw 1 million absolutely obliterating the opposition. But this could maybe be the start of that return coming through as they've shown up to the party, proving that they are quite the force to be reckoned with, locking in 21 eliminations. And while we process this, we are going to be taking a very quick break. So be sure to stay tuned. I'll be right back afterwards with, well, the match rankings and the breakdown.
If only I had a weapon, I would take over the punching kick.
That's nothing. I clearly took down the enemy. If we were to keep the score, we'll definitely be higher than this.
If I hadn't thrown the wrong grenade, I'd be eating chicken dinner for sure. What's wrong, guys?
If you don't agree, let's play Ultimate Arena.
Arguments don't matter. Ultimate Arena decides the victor.
Hello and welcome back to day 3 in the second phase right here in the PUBG Mobile Africa Fall 2022 season. Absolutely insane action that we've been seeing so far today. 1 million stepping up with the second place on match 1. Right now they double down on this efforts, locking in that winner chicken dinner in match number 3. But not only did they get that winner chicken dinner, they did so with 21 eliminations to their name. Absolutely insane.
I'm so glad no one can see my face right now because it's just... Oh, it is just pure shock on my face right now. But 1 million, Just there's nothing else. Like, again, I want to avoid analyzing Titans. I want to avoid analyzing 1 million in that Erangel. That was just so okay. Moving on to the rest of the squads, of course. We know one round wave Esports, Darkness, Slime 4KT picking up those double digits. So great little bit of an opportunity for them just to bolster their standings on the overall. I will say that I am thoroughly disgusted by 1 million and their just reign of supremacy. I mean, where was this on Monday and Tuesday? Were we just waiting to surprise us on a Monday like this?
Well, I can tell you, right, them surprising you on a Monday is going to be quite the tall order, right? Because we're only playing Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Friday.
But sure is. We'll go with Monday,
Friday.
Tuesday. Yes, but this is a great improvement coming through from 1 million, right? If we look back to what we had in last week they were sitting on this side, right, over on the second page. This week, one match, they doubled the efforts from what we saw in the previous day 3. But, you know, due to the insane performance we had coming through from 1 million, it resulted in the rest of the teams not finding the most favorable amount of points being awarded to them.
Oh, I can tell you what. The fact is, we're seeing such a change up from these teams, and we're going to keep talking. I'm going to keep talking about it, rather. That the teams are still adapting. The teams are still. I don't want to say holding back, but it feels like they're holding back, because especially in 1 million's case, they just suddenly jump in and do a 21 elimination game. Come on, like, it does feel like they're holding back on us here, DK. It's like, you know, they're just teasing us, and then all of a sudden, just 21 eliminations. But it's great to see, because we started with 1 million in the first phase, and then we lost them going into the weekend, and now first day of that weekend game, third game on a Friday, they jump in with a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, I mean, that's 1 million just telling us that they are still a team to be watched, right? They are not a team to be forgotten. And just to highlight a few of the crazy plays we had, let's jump into a few of those Oppo moments to remind ourselves of what unfolded right here on our second Erangel of today.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. I'll try and see if I can understand what exactly happened here with 1 million, but I guess this should have been the start. You know, a triple nade should have given me an idea that 1 million esports were up for something sinister, and they absolutely just continued the domination. Titans, of course, they found themselves in a very, very tough altercation here with VST. It ultimately ended in both teams leaving the lobby almost swiftly. As you can see, that nade just pops on through, and bam, it is done. It is dusted. Both teams back into the lobby, and that followed suit. It was a very difficult time for these teams to manage all of this craziness here within these final zones.
Yeah, but you know what, that nade that we saw coming through on Titans, what that tells me is the only team that can take our Titans is Titan, right?
Specifically Teak.
Yes, right? Teak is so good that he can take on the rest of the lobby, but also their own teammates and send them backing. But again, right, 1 million just showing up so amazingly with those gun skills. I mean, we did see that push coming through on towards that truck. Just so great. Blackjack, they didn't even know what was heading in their direction. Of course, 1 million just coming through with that shock and awe approach. And I gotta say, it results in some very satisfying action. And of course, some utterly mind-blowing numbers coming through. I mean, we've not really seen a team come through with 21 eliminations. The highest we had was 19, but now they have to go and break that mold. And of course, that results in them just applying so much pressure onto Leaders Esports to try and maintain that second position.
Oh, yeah, it is going to be a tough uphill battle here for Leaders Esports. I believe they're like, 95 points away from Titan? That is just ridiculous, but absolutely, here they are. And moving on forward, 1 million making a massive jump. They're into third place immediately. A fantastic reward for them and the work that they've been doing coming on through. They've been a bit quiet on Tuesday and Wednesday, as we mentioned, but just wow, jumping into today, I'm very curious to see how they're going to continue this. So Esports as well, they made a bit of a jump, I would say, alongside Lag, but I'm still waiting for a bit more from them, alongside Myth, alongside Slime 4KT, especially, who I feel like we keep finding them in those final phases, but they're not quite making the final impacts to just jump over into that winner chicken dinner bracket. So it's very, very close for them so far.
Yes, I mean, it might even be a little bit uncomfortably close if we look at the point situation coming through right there. But we also did see the players there from Lag, Slime 4KT, all being relatively close to each other with those points. And of course, now as we take a look onto the second page, we get to see that kind of momentum continue, right? That the whole story plays out all the way from Team Myth, we see sitting up in that 8th place, moving over on towards Wave here with 64.63. Then we've got 61.59. Again, there's only 8 points separating 9th place rather from 16th. So again, one performance in this next match could change up this entire positioning.
And as we know, Triple Esports ending there in the 16th position with 52 points. We can take a look at the last page as well, just to see how close the contention is. Because as we know, the teams have been fighting day in, day out to try and make those final pushes. But so far, it's been very close. It's been extremely close, and I still think, as we just saw, one massive game can make a world of difference. So, of course, we know 16th with 52 points. Coming into 17th, it's 38, 38, 35, 31. It's not a lot. It's not a massive jump from this page to the second, maybe even getting you closer to the first.
Yeah, I mean, it's only realistically like about a 14-point difference moving through, right, from 17th up into 16th place. A gap that can easily be closed in one match, right? And now moving into our next match, which is going to be over on towards Miramar, this could be that exact opportunity for the teams to step up. But sadly, it's not going to be on the cards for Blackjack, Legends of War, Team Myth, and Titan Gaming, as they are going to be sitting out in match number 4. So we'll have to wait for that final play over on our last game, our last match of the day, to see what these teams could have in store for us. Meanwhile, it's of course going to be the return of Arab Golden, Leaders Esports, Soul Esports, and Zero Tolerance as we now get ready to jump straight into the action. Of course, the flight path starting, as we can see over on that western side, the lovely El Pozo just there on the left-hand side. So that means that this could be a relatively comfortable path to come in here. We'll have to wait so the full path is on the screen. Ooh, all right. I'm loving where it's heading, all the way from there from Pozo down towards Puerto. So a very satisfying approach. It is going to be somewhat challenging for the teams that like to go a little bit further up north. But again, as I always say, just a little bit of a vehicle drop could change that up quite a bit.
Absolutely, and we've seen some of the teams really favoring for that. Get yourselves, on the ground as quickly as possible. Some change-ups, of course, now as we do see... okay, so 1 million, we're still seeing them there towards El Pozo. And actually, Zero Tolerance still opting for that very western side drop. So curious to see how those two are going to translate moving into the later phase of Miramar. But it has been a massive jump for the likes of 1 million. As you can see, Senke now up in as least in the top 3 in terms of grenade eliminations. And I'm pretty sure that just came from that one Erangel.
Yes, but still it is going to be up to Plaza holding on to those longest eliminations, right? Alongside Venom and Chico. Still some very impressive numbers to have nonetheless. But no surprise to see Titan dominating the knockout side. Always great to see Morteza, as we also then have our zone that is going to be sitting relatively central, right? I mean, it is going to allow quite a bit of a play to be had in towards the middle of the zone. Power Grid I'm looking at in particular. Also potentially up in towards San Martin, where we can see Slime 4KT and the players there from Desert Flame in quite a bit of a close position, right? Not the craziest place, but it's still a little bit too close for comfort. Speaking about that, Ivar also finding themselves just holding on to that seat.
Run. Just drive. Leave, Rhino, please. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one here. Of course, Wave still yet to really loot themselves up to at least a comfortable level. And now facing off against one round, looking for that pincer maneuver. We'll keep an eye out to see what's going to happen here. Of course, all of this is still happening within Zone because the Zone is just so kind to these players. But I do not see a very, very easy exit here for Rhino. Just dodge and weave. Just leave. Please, just leave.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that cat and mouse, right? Chico now respecting the situation here.
I love that.
Oh, but Eflex doesn't, right? They just reach in.
Chico tried.
Not going. Yeah, Chico, I love the effort, right? Chico, a lot of respect, going into a bit of a fist fight there instead of running in with the weapon that you had, moving and arriving at the party here. Meanwhile, this is now going to be up to the rest of Wave, having to try and improve on the fate that their teammate just experienced.
Absolutely. Hopefully they'll be able to get themselves looted up into a more comfortable position. Of course, Triple Esports not far off from this contention as well. Might have seen it going down, but they're a lot more comfortably looted. As we can see, they've obviously had the time to get themselves set up. So I'm curious to see if they will actually jump on this opportunity to pick up some early eliminations. Oh, I see some leads. I see some bullets being, just very charitably shared to one round. Just a little bit of a warning shot, perhaps.
Yeah, but I now understand why eFlex was doing what they did, right? We just saw the little picture, the avatar, whatever you want to call it there for eFlex. And that look tells me everything I need to know. So eFlex not going to let any opportunities pass them by. Instead, going to be pushing straight on out. But Ivar now just going to be keeping their ears open as we can see the players there from one round rotating up ahead of them. But this is where Wave now needs to find a bit of an alternate approach to get themselves to survive even further into the game. Yes, they still have 3 players up, but they don't have the most ideal starting position. As we know, they still have a few contenders roaming about.
Oh, yes, absolutely. All of the teams still well represented into this current phase of Miramar. And the teams, again, we mentioned, they've had a massive warm-up. They started with Sanhok, went on to the 2 Erangels back-to-back. So they warmed up, they're ready for the action, but now they have to just sort of take a breath and say, listen, this is Miramar. We're not looking for those crazy early engagements, but the teams are definitely just... You can see that aggressive energy, which is, again, I think why I loved last week's... Friday's set of maps, because it just carried on through even to Miramar. The teams were just sort of more active than usual.
Yeah, we like that extra little bit of spark being ignited as the teams move on forward. And of course, one round going to be looking to just continue on with their efforts here. We got the D3S sitting with the M249 in hand, prepped and ready to roll. But they are going to be put to the test, right? As we do see Chico now just vaulting up in the window. Ooh, fortunately for Chico, they didn't head directly in that direction. But D3S now following through on the aggression, steps up, gets the knock and the confirmation, while the rest of the crew now looks to just fortify this position. But I'm loving this approach coming through here from Wave, right? Even though they lost their player, that's not at the end of the world. They're now looking to avenge their teammate and just give one round a little bit of their own medicine.
I do like that opportunity. Wave now, revenge is on the cards, and I do love me a little bit of revenge. Just bring it back. The teams avenging Rhino and said, listen, you did not respect the punching rule. All right? So now we take you out. We take one of yours, potentially. Wave, of course, they do have Knight in this compound, at least. That has been left to their own devices. The rest of one round have opted for that rotation out because they are also down to 3 players. They do not want to lose more than they already have. But the question is, does Wave know that Knight is here?
Ooh, I mean, that's the good question, right? Well, Knight is not really running around with the sign saying, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, right? They want to keep it as a bit of a surprise. So I'm hoping, at least for Knight, that this position pans out and they are successful in getting that sneak approach deployed. But it's still going to be a little bit of a risky play to be made here, right? eFlex, Escanor, not that close. So however way this one unfolds, could be a little bit of a bumpy play. But up comes Zakaria, just creeping closer and closer. Oh, Knight now jumps at the opportunity. On goes the sign, though, as that element of surprise is now right out the courtyard. And it's going to be up to the players here from Wave to see whether or not they're actually going to find them out. Oh, up comes the heads. Knight going to town, but essentially does fall to the shots and the spray down coming through from D3S.
Ooh, and look, it was close. They should be able to hopefully get those races moving on through. And then they won up from one round. So, revenge. Slime 4KT, of course, now they've rotated through. They've spotted one round making that approach into the compound. So they've got great information, great opportunity for Pincer. And Plaza's going to be moving on through just to get closer, getting some good information. Pronto is still here. The rest of Slime 4KT not far off as well. So they can really put in a good investment to take this one round team out.
Ooh, but Plaza coming in with the strafing. That is not what you want to have happen. Escanor Now going to be looking to find a little bit of a safe escape here to make, but Storm has got that western position pretty much dialed in. Now up comes the push. Escanor is going to fall as Pronto sends out that final nade to just get it all shut down. And off they are. 1 round getting sent out in 16th place.
With only 1 elimination, and that was because they did not respect the punching rule. So that is sweet justice, DK. That is sweet justice coming on through. I'm kidding. No offense to 1 round. You guys, it's okay. You got another Miramar. Don't worry. But looking at the rest of the teams now, very central position for most of them. Arab Golden and Zero Tolerance, of course, coming in from that northwestern side. Lag a little bit straggle, a little bit one of the stragglers moving in from the southwestern side, but they're in zone. They're comfortable. All the teams in zone, in comfortable positions. As we know, zone hasn't been very harsh for them. This next phase shift, however, will be the focus point to see which teams are going to be finding themselves in a much more advantageous position. As we know, a lot of them already set up nicely within compounds, but do they now need to evacuate said compounds is the question.
Ooh, that is a good question. The answer is no, right? The zone will allow them to kind of just continue on with their efforts. But I'm loving this congestion we are having on this very edge of zone, right? Soul and the Blaze here for the Super Young Stars having a bit of a swing at each other. Messi, of course, now going to be situated in a slightly exposed position there. And of course, you can rely on Hemo and Rauf to step through and just lock in that knock. But now, it turns to the rest of the team coming through here from the Super Young Stars, right? We can see Moore now up in the window alongside Winky and Nasa, trying to see if they can play out this hard cover. But Soul not going to let this one slide. Instead, they're going to be looking to push a little bit further forward, trying to see if they can keep that tight lock on them.
Oh, absolutely. Messi, unfortunately, is going to get confirmed out. But Super Young Stars still 3 players up, and Adam now looking at the rest of Seoul as Twix is down. A very good opportunity. They're sitting on equal footing. But again, it's these positions. Now Nossa trying to sneak closer. Great information play here. But Super Young Stars are going to have a very difficult uphill battle, quite literally, as they don't have the same line of sight that Seoul has.
Ooh, yeah. This could be the one for Soul to just show their dominance, right? Just lock in the position. But it is going to be that send coming through from Super Young Stars, looking to apply some form of pressure here. But, I mean, not moving out just yet. Instead, just going to be sticking to that spot. Nossa, on the other hand, not going to be too satisfied. Going to be rushing straight on forward. Spots a bit of an opportunity there on towards Hemo, but knows that they have not yet been able to see where the rest of the team is situated. Spots Hemo. Ooh, this could be the play now. Up comes a bit of a trade. Sneaky assault succeeds. Now Rauf on the welcoming part there. Oh, takes quite a bit of damage. This could be the commitment to push in. Oh, Nossa does not make a successful advance there. And unfortunately, they did not have the reinforcements of the rest of the team to back them up.
I honestly don't know how Rauf just managed to stay alive in that scenario. I will be honest. But HP bars aside, So Esports, of course, they have the advantage. They still have the best numbers. They still have a great opportunity to move even further from this. Virtual Gaming, of course, now pulling up on Super Young Stars. It's a 2-2 split coming through. It's one shot, and Gaddafi now looking to take out the remainder here of Super Young Stars. Great information for them, and of course, they still have better numbers. It's just going to be about whether or not they're going to regroup and fully invest into this. Mort and Winky, they split up, unfortunately. It's one building apiece. So if Virtual Gaming just take one building at a time, it could be the turnaround. But hey, there's a knock, so they will actually have to disengage. So there's some ray of sunshine here, some ray of opportunity for Super Young Stars.
Yeah, there's some light in the darkness for them. And now this could be that extra bit of continuation that the Super Young Stars need. But now this is going to be YC receiving a bit of damage there off in the distance. I'm loving this confidence being shown here, right? More, not in the most favorable position, but still going to be trying to keep it contentious. And of course, speaking about contention, Lag and Virtual Gaming going toe-to-toe. Quite a bit of damage being dealt either side, but both teams quick on those recoveries, looking to keep the fight ongoing. Oh, but is Gaddafi to get found out? Zeus now trying to occupy a little bit of an elevated angle there. Unfortunately, they do get the knock on towards Alafaluji. Zeus now on the defensive, but the Space Command succeeds in taking one down. Up comes the rush to the play. Fantasy moves in, and off they go. Virtual Gaming getting wiped off of Miramar.
Wow, okay, not how I expected this to go for virtual gaming, but they still have an opportunity to move on for, well, Lag still has an opportunity to move through, as we know, right up ahead of them, it is Super Young Stars, just currently looking for this engagement and some sort of an answer. Winky and Mort now being able to regroup, but it's only going to be for a moment's notice of peace, because Super Young Stars, they have to face off against Seoul.
Yeah, they definitely have to face off. So let's see where this one will go. Seoul now trying to mount a full-on aggression here. But still, both these teams need to start thinking of a way. Should they succeed in surviving this? How they're going to get themselves back in towards that zone. Raouf now trying to wrap around the edge. Looking for a bit of an vantage point to play out here. But can't really see through those stairs just yet. Instead, can be moving further and further up. Winky. Oh, just keeping the ears open. Gets spotted out. Up comes the sprays, but narrowly escapes. Up comes a great assist from off in the distance. But Mort now rushing on forward, getting on yet another knockdown. Goes Hemo. And this could be that turnaround point for the Super Young Stars. Oh, Winky up ahead. Down they go. Wisey pushes through with the DBS. The jump shot, and down they are.
What?
Mid-area elimination. But they're not out of the woods just yet, because up comes Lag, looking to just capitalize on that third-party position.
And that's the issue with taking so long with this engagement. I mean, just absolute kudos to YC for managing to finish it off in style. But now, zone's coming on in. Lag is up ahead of them, holding their pursuit into the zone, holding their navigational path. So they can just leave one member here in the form of potentially A9Q, and they could pick up potentially 2 eliminations for next to nothing as the rest of Lag move on through into the zone, trying to find a better position here. It's Raouf, it's YC now. We're holding all the cards. YC making a move out. Raouf still trying to get the heal up. Gaga now moving on in. It is spelling the end of Seoul Esports.
Yeah, it could very well be exactly that, but Raouf not down just yet. Instead, they get that knock on down. It is going to be a little bit of a turn now. Gaga needing to get themselves back into safety. Up comes the send of the rest of the team. The confirmation, however, comes through. And this could be that quick opportunity for Raouf to get the rest back up into YC. Out comes the nades, looking to find the bounce, find some damage, but not sufficiently so. And that's not going to stop A9Q from just cooking up yet another one, letting it marinate a little bit this time around. Will this be the spray to succeed though? Raouf quickly retreating back upstairs. Out the window they go. Finds the hit. Raouf not done. A9Q getting absolutely dealt with, but now Fantasy, the final hopeful for the side here of Lag, hoping to find a bit of an opportunity. Oh, is going to attempt that res. Raouf keeping their eyes absolutely peeled. Are we going to be seeing them just vaulting out the window? That health bar looking quite dangerously low, and that is going to be the end, as they will not be able to beat this fourth phase blue. But Fantasy might find themselves in a very similar position.
Fantasy. I like it. We're going to keep it maybe. Who knows?
Yes.
It's Wave. It's 1 million up here in the church position here towards Graveyard. Now holding a bit of an awkward line here. Looking for some nades, looking for some connections here, because of course 1 million applying a lot of pressure for Wave, holding their escape, holding their path out of the situation and into the zone. So they do not have a lot of options. They have to fight their way out, and unfortunately 1 million, they are just being such a nuisance here.
I mean, you got to be a nuisance, right? That's what PUBG is about, especially at this level. You need to keep the pressure on. You can't let it slide at any point in time. But now it's going to be up to Wave to see if they can get this Graveyard angle locked on through. It's going to be 1 million now. Oh, trying to get a bit of a breach, but I'm loving D3S just sending those nades out. And this is Wave showing that, yes, you know, even though they are down to 3, they are not a team to be reckoned with. They are still going to defend their honor. They want to lock in this play. And I mean, if they go through 1 million to accomplish that, big on them. Lazy Boy, meanwhile, gets found out. Ivar also not going to fall. But a quick response coming through as Marshall also gets knocked on down.
Zakaria now moving on through with the final hits. D3S to back them up as well. It's Senke and it's Lazy Boy now to hold the line. But Lazy Boy knocked out, bleeding out. There's not a lot of time left. And the rotation still has to come on through for the remaining member that was holding that flanking line, Senke. They need to get some time here. They need to provide the opportunity for their teammate to move on through, get the res, and take this further.
Well, as we know, Senke is definitely one for those utilities, right? Has got that aim, has got that timing down to a T, but This blue zone that is on the approach is not going to make life any easier for either of these teams. Of course, Wave still now looking to see what they can bring out to the body, rushing on forward. Zakaria, D3S, trying to now just dance around those flames. So it's D3S to get found out absolutely ablaze alongside Zakaria. Both players now having to just kind of repatch themselves. Out comes Lazy Boy looking to capitalize on the opportunity. Easy claps as they step up, finding the one, but D3S managing to pull off a quick res in the heel bar. No! Venom comes in to drive it through.
Oh, we love that turnaround. 1 million just holding on for dear life, and they've made it work, which is fantastic. Arab Golden now, they're taking a great rotation just behind 1 million, a little bit more towards zero tolerance. So as they hold this northwestern approach, they find themselves sandwiched between two teams. So very difficult to manage, and they do need to keep their heads on a swivel. We can see Slime 4KT just up on the high rise there towards the edge of Graveyard, holding a very great position. But it's like, once again, who's in the center zone? It's Darkness.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Darkness now. Waiting to see where this next phase is going to be taking them. And once again, they are looking quite favorable, moving on through. Meanwhile, the fighting will continue here for 1 million as Arab Golden now look to apply as much pressure as they can find. See Ban still going to be bleeding out, but I'm loving Angelo's approach here, right? Just peering through the edge of the smoke. Unfortunately, gets found out. Up comes that full send now as Senke and the rest of the team from 1 million look to close it out, but zero tolerance rushing in right behind them. What an unfortunate turn of events, but Arab Golden still on the defensive, trying to keep the pressure up. Look at this. It is third-party central. Slime 4KT also contributing to the chaos. But zero tolerance, they've got their eyes set on Arab Golden, finding Ban, and Sin could be the final player now to fall if Paradox succeeds in this angle.
Did we suddenly go to Sanhok? What is this third-party nonsense? But it's Arab Golden still holding along with one player remaining. Paradox moving in for that final hit, that final confirmation nail in the coffin. But Sin will get taken down eventually with the helping hand with Slime 4KT. It has, of course, zero tolerance, looking to recover their numbers, looking to get them set back up. 1 million getting closer to the zone, right up alongside, of course, Slime 4KT. Darkness holding center line, trying to stop Mad Knights and leaders from getting themselves positioned in zone. It's going to be 1 million that's going to have a very tough rotation out of this ridgeline.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the tall order, quite the uphill battle, if I might be as bold. But here we go now. It's not going to stop Senke, as we can see that nade getting sent out. Not really reaching where they would have hoped it to. But this is an opportunity for Slime to get themselves situated. Looking down, waiting for Senke and their teammate, their Venom, to just come moving out of this building, as the blue zone is not leaving them with much other options. But a great approach coming through from Koa. As we know, a super proficient player, already lining up quite a bit of aggression. Will continue that ridge. Not finding an exact angle just yet. But maybe that could improve, as we do see Plaza also now trying to sneak a little bit closer.
Ooh, 1 million just on the ridge line. Venom, of course, edging here, just trying to find some sort of an angle. Moving closer and closer, but very hesitant, and I don't blame them, because as soon as they step on in, it is the entirety of Slime 4KT that might have an angle on their position. So trying to opt out for a little bit of a better approach. In the meanwhile, Slime 4KT, they will be distracted. They have zero tolerance in their line of sight, and it's a good turnaround. Maybe 1 million can use this as an opportunity to move forward.
I mean, 1 million just getting blessed every now and again, right? Every time, once they find themselves in a little bit of that pressure situation, something happens to just help alleviate the pressure. And again, right, now it is going to be up to Slime looking to commit to the position in which they find 1 million. But of course, both teams nowhere near the zone. So however they take this altercation, they also need to keep an eye on getting themselves situated much, much closer. And that will bring a whole entire different circumstance of challenges alongside with it.
Absolutely, it would. 1 million now. Still looking for an opportunity to take out Slime 4KT, as they have recovered their numbers. Zero tolerance now. They've moved on forward. They're looking at Mad Knights. So all the pressure back on 1 million. It is a 2-1-4 scenario, and Slime 4KT, they're looking for that trigger.
Oh, up comes Goa. Spots Venom. Venom spots Goa. How do we do? How's it going to go? Let's see now. Not out of the woods, right? Senke a little bit further down. A lot of back and forth. Everyone are just trying to make these positions work on out. It is going to be Pronto to get targeted, and down they go. Venom drives it in. Oh, Goa gets traded up to Pronto now. The final contender left for the side of Slime 4KT as those eliminations just start getting picked on in. A quick little bit of a dash up in the vehicle. Nowhere else really to move. So a great call being made right there. Meanwhile, Darkness and Mad Knight going at each other a little bit further ahead. But Senke now closing it up. Picking up the final few players there from Slime 4KT. Meanwhile, leaders Esports will get back up. Off they go. Down to 5 teams we are. But who will be the next team to fall? Is it going to be 1 million, or will it potentially be coming through there from Storm, from Slime 4KT?
And of course, Darkness still holding numbers just alongside Mad Knight. 4 players apiece, at least if Ammo and can get rezzed. It's time. Now, we take a little bit of an interesting shift here. Zero Tolerance coming through here from the western side. Of course, we know alongside 1 million Esports. Darkness holding that eastern approach with Mad Knight. So both sides have an opportunity to get a little bit tunnel vision, just taking out their neighbors. But they have to be careful. The rest of the squads, they're moving on forward. And then Storm, well, just Storm in the middle of everyone, having to just watch the sandwich unfold.
Yeah, that's not the most ideal sandwich to get caught in. But of course, Darkness, Mad Knight now going to be looking to continue the play on the very edge. As we can see, Darkness, the only team still rocking with 4 players. Mad Knight want to keep themselves in contention, right? We do have that knock coming through on Kingerman. But now, quick res attempt coming through here. As we can see, the Beast doing that exactly there. But Tyson now on the receiving end, as Tornado is going to try and find that opening. Oh, spots them out, and Tyson getting found. Oh, down they go. Tornado now just rushing on forward, fighting 2 of the players. Kingerman gets a quick little bit of a response there on towards Zizal. But now, will this be the final push? Oh, Iron moving up alongside Tornado. Will they lock this one in? The time is running out. Kingerman fighting trade after trade. Not out of the woods. Kingerman bring in such a phenomenal defensive position here. Just finding those hits, those sprays. Absolutely perfection. But now, Tornado will continue the assault. Moving on forward. Yet another knock coming through from Kingerman. Give this man a bells as they just keep on finding spray after spray. Tyson, of course, going to be relaying all the information through to Kingerman. But let's see. Will this nade find its position up onto what's goes? Out it goes. Will this be the one to lock it in? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Where did that nade
It was
go?
a misfire, maybe. Oh, but that one finds something. Iron gets taken off, and let's see. Will we have that push? Could this be the play? Come on, Kingerman, you can do it. Yes, there we have it. Kingerman succeeds in finding the required damage. But of course, that's not all down to Kingerman. We did see a little bit of that assist come through as well.
The slightest bit of mistiming there coming through from that bait and switch for Darkness, just not quite getting the angles they were looking for, at least to try and just utilize their better numbers. But hey, Kingerman, just massive clutch coming on through. Mad Knight's still in this, of course. Zero Tolerance now with the team with the most numbers, lying in middle of the zone here towards the southwestern side. They have that angle on towards Mad Knight. Kingerman not looking very healthy. Tyson is down. The final shots are going to come through, and Mad Knight gets sent back into the lobby. It's still Storm. It's still the 2 from 1 million and the 3 from Zero Tolerance.
Oh, well, unfortunately, it's going to be the end of the road there for Mad Knight, but at least they finish off with a few decent points to their name. But now as we look on, right, as you pointed out, rightly so, 1 million Slime and Zero Tolerance having to duke it out to see who will be the team to walk away with that winner chicken dinner. 1 million coming in with an absolutely exceptional effort once again. Already those 11 eliminations, double digits again, right? Back-to-back performances looking absolutely phenomenal here for them. But let's see. It is going to be Storm now trying to just get themselves secured. 1 million trying to wait for these opportunities. But Zero Tolerance having the numbers advantage. I want to see Skydo just absolutely go to town at this point.
Oh, absolutely. That would be the best possible opportunity that we can see happen here. So Skydo now holding a beautiful line of sight, of course, as we can see, 1 million just around the red line. They don't want to jump in just yet. They are outside of the zone, so they will be forced into this action one way or another. Of course, Storm, same situation for them. All of these teams have to move into the center of, well, nothing, unfortunately. They have to give up their cover to get into the zone. So it's going to be about that timing. Who's going to be the first team to step up? Who's going to be spotting out that angle, that line of sight needed first?
Well, I mean, only time will reveal it, right? As you can see, it is a little bit of that stalemate happening right now, but the teams are running out of options as the blue zone will continue now to push them even closer together. Of course, the spray is coming through as we can see. 1 million now looking to make those plays happen. Storm getting spotted out. Oh, beautiful sprays as the elimination is secured. Senke doing the deeds, right? 0 tolerance now. Down to 2. It is going to be a 2v2 fight. Senke and Venom up against, well, Skydo. That's the only player standing between them and that winner chicken dinner. Up comes the push. Will this be on the books for Skydo? Oh, no, the answer is indeed no, as 1 million locks in a back-to-back winner chicken dinner.
I'm feeling a little bit like we've just jumped into phase 1. We've just jumped into Tuesday and Wednesday. This is a very reminiscent performance of 1 million in the early phases of PMPL Africa. And of course, PMPL Spring. Let's not forget their reign of terror. So massive, massive work here from 1 million once again, picking up a 30-pointer. Obviously not as crazy as a 36-pointer, but hey, they've done pretty well. Wow.
Yeah, points are points, right? Points are points. I mean, 1 million to seven eliminations shy of their performance we just saw coming through on Erangel. So what an absolutely insane play that was. And so far, it's really looking like this is the 1 million day, right? Glorious, glorious way to play it. But as we know, right, moving into our final match, they will have an opportunity to continue and replicate that once again because they are playing that last Miramar. So a very, very exciting play out that we have had. But we need to take a bit of a look and see what that point situation is, right? The match ranking, see how many points these teams were able to secure coming in off of our very first Miramar for the day. Is any predictions that you have before we get into that?
Predictions regarding the points. Are you making me do math?
Yes.
No. I will forever refuse to touch any sort of points whatsoever. Thank you.
Well, I mean, we tried. But of course, well, what we don't have to try is do our sponsor callouts, right? So a big shout out going out to Oppo. Born to win. Welcome to the exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much loved Reno 7 series. And aside from Oppo, we also need to give a big thank you out to Monster Energy, our official energy drink partner for the PUBG Mobile Pro Leagues. So a lot of love and respect going out to our sponsors for making these amazing events a possibility. And of course, what a great showing that it was, coming through from 1 million, stepping up, just lighting up the feed once more with a glorious, glorious performance. I mean, maybe 1 million could be the team to put a bit of an end to the, that runaway performance coming through from Titan.
Definitely, if they continue the way that they have been so far, I think it's the closest, dominating performance that we've seen that matches that Titan energy. So they definitely have that opportunity to move forward. It's again just about how far that gap is, because as we know, leaders were the closest. But let's thankfully not have to wait too much longer to see what math was done in the background, because I definitely had no hand in it whatsoever. It is, of course, 1 million taking first pole position with 30 points. So they're definitely just trying to jump as close as possible to Titans. They're leaping as close as possible to Titans.
Yeah, that is the kind of titanic performance we need to see come through from a team looking to, just stick it to our dominators right there. But again, a very satisfying performance going through from Slime Forgetty as well as Mad Knight. That's where we want to have those double-digit figures coming through as a result of some crazy action. But of course, we see leaders right there as well, coming in with those 4 eliminations, 4 placement points being awarded to them. But Soul Esports showing why they've been sitting in the top 4 across the previous 2 days of play, right? Locking in those 6 eliminations and sitting with a grand total of 7 for this match.
Oh, it was pretty on fire for a lot of these teams, picking up some great eliminations across the board. As we do see a very, very similar approach to what we saw on Sanhok. It's a very distributed approach, apart from maybe 1 or 2 at the top that just decided to take it all to themselves. They're a little bit greedy, if you ask me, but it's fine. Great performances nonetheless. We love to see it. So that was Miramar. Of course, we know the first page of the match rankings. Still have the second page just to take a look and see who didn't quite make the approach they wanted to. I mean, I'm taking a look, of course, at no one really. Everyone picked up a point, so it's good consistency.
Yeah, I mean, it's great consistency. We did see all the teams landing themselves at least 1 point, but I'm loving this coming through from Lag and Wave, right? Even though they didn't find the most favorable placement points, still lighting it up with those eliminations. And this is what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, right? Teams still utilizing that 1 point being awarded per elimination, and that is what keeps them in contention. Even though they don't necessarily fall within that placement points, they still are able to lock in a strong amount of points at the end of the match.
Yeah, it's the shift in focus. And hey, when you are literally battling it up against all the possible odds, why not pick up an elimination? Why not get yourself at least some sort of an opportunity to just add on to your tally? And so far, the teams have been pretty good at doing so far. But we know that was the second last match of the day, the first Miramar of the day. Moving into the last map, we have both Titans and 1 million on one single map. And again, Titans still have to pick up their second winner chicken dinner if they want to continue their streak. So a lot of pressure on Titans' shoulders, just for record's sake, nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, just having those bragging rights. But as you said, this being our last match of the day, we are going to be having one team take a break as they usually do. So that's going to be the players from Darkness, One Round, Slime for Getty, as well as Virtual Gaming. So a few teams that could show some great potential coming through, not going to be having the opportunity to do that. So they'll have to try and make up for that in day 4 and day 5 right here in phase number 2. So I'm expecting to see those improved performances coming through as we move on forward. But of course, speaking about the crazy plays that we've had, we are going to be jumping into a few of our Oppo moments from this last match.
Oh, and it really did start off with a good revenge play. So justice was served. Super Young Stars and Seoul Esports, of course, found each other not too long after. Again, Super Young Stars, not the result that they were looking for, but hey, there were some good, pickups in terms of points one way or another. So as we turned into this crazy mid-air battle that we saw Raouf coming on through with the shots, it was just absolutely fantastic. Actually, it was Wisey that hit that mid-air shotgun shot, I believe. But the rest of the teams also really picking up a lot of pressure as we saw 1 million just there towards the end, making the final moments, making the final adjustments to pick up that winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, well, what an exciting match that was. And as we talk about excitement, we are going to be taking a very quick break to return with even more excitement in our final match of the day. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys back in a short few moments.
Stalemate? No problem. Ultimate Arena decides the victor.
As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. Just say that you'll be, say that you'll be. I'd be there for you whenever you need me. But you've been holding back. Maybe you're just not ready. Baby, do you feel the same? Or do you feel the pressure? I promise I can take your pain and turn it into pleasure. As time goes by,
Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. Of course, it's day number 3 in our second week, and we're getting ready to move into our final match. We've already seen the players from 1 million locking in 2 back-to-back winner-winner chicken dinners, but now, as we're moving through into our final match, we get to see whether or not they are going to be opposed by any other forces, or are they going to be looking to lay it on as thick as they can find it on towards the players there from Titans, who are still leading the pack across the board. And of course, it's going to happen on none other than Miramar.
Yeah, our last Miramar of the day, finishing it off with a nice sandy dune map of Miramar. So a lot of teams will have an opportunity just to take a little bit of a breather, hopefully bring their best possible, stratagems, whatever you want to call it, bringing into this last map and put their best foot forward. Of course, Group A won't be joining us, so they've done their maps for the day. They've had all of their opportunities played out, ready, done and dusted. But it is going to be an absolutely stacked set of teams moving into Miramar.
Yes, and it's going to be quite a bit of excitement to come through, as we know several teams joining us. And of course, we don't have to wait any much longer as we are jumping straight into our final match of the day. Beautiful waterway down below. That means we are coming through from Val del Mar, which we can see situated on that southern edge of the screen, or the bottom side of the screen, because it's not necessarily south, but the flight path is going to be heading all the way up towards Campo Militar. So a very centralized flight path, at least for the teams now, to get themselves situated. But I think the big kicker in this one is going to be where that first initial zone is going to be moving in.
Absolutely, because as we know, we've had a very well-behaved Miramar zone so far. Centering up on Miramar, it really didn't challenge the teams all that much in terms of rotations. They could take their time. They could really invest a lot more time into those earlier altercations, which is why we saw maybe a few teams, lagging behind in terms of central rotations, because they were fighting it out. They were duking it out to get those eliminations. So curious to see how that might change this time around, and if we're going to be seeing any of those alternative drop sites coming on through.
I don't think we're going to be seeing too much of that, at least not looking at the flight path, right? I think it's all going to come down to what that zone is. It's going to be bringing through as well. But already, as we can see, up and towards Chumacera, it's going to be VST, and the players there from Lag. Oh, sorry, that is up in towards Ladrelera. It was a similar sound. Ladrelera / Monte Nuevo. We're going to be having a little bit of that early game positioning, but wow, look at that, right? Los Leones is going to be smack dab center zone. Blackjack, they're going to be loving this position, but who's not going to be loving it will be the players here from Legends of War and Mad Knight as they fight it out. Oh, the shots connecting up. Mad Knight having a really tough time right here in the arena, but what better place to duke it out?
Absolutely. Legends of War looking like they're not taking no for an answer. They want the elimination, so thank you very much for jumping into the arena, but your days are numbered. Mad Knight now down to only 2. It's Tyson and Beast who are just trying to get out of the situation. Lag, of course, in VST, as we mentioned earlier. Yeah, they've also started their own little bit of arena of war.
Well, I'm loving this, right? Teams not wasting any time. Instead, just rushing out. Looking to see what they can get done. And of course, Monte Nuevo will be where it's at. Fantasy, A9Q, the rest of Lag, managing to get themselves back into contention. But the same can be said here for VST, right? So round 1 already concluded. Now we're getting ready for a little bit of that round 2 action, as VST and Lag will step up to the plate once again. So get ready for the action. Ding, 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 off they go. Who will be the team to reign supreme up and towards Monte Nuevo? Any predictions, AS, before they go?
Honestly, I'm going to be putting my numbers right now on Lag. They're looking a little bit just more active, more set for those different angles, but who knows? The health bars are definitely on VST's side.
Well, we are seeing a lot of air punching coming through, so the teams are trying to get themselves all limbered up and ready to roll. But Fivo, Zuxi, Adleno on the front line. It's a boot coming in with a little bit of a change-up, right? But Gaga also trying to bring in the same approach, but gets spotted. So there we go. It's a boot putting in that first hit. Zuxi trying to move up for the confirmation, about to get it secured. And that could only mean that the teams are yet to face off even more. There we go. Zuxi now respecting that punch rule, doing so successfully, and with that, of course, securing themselves that first elimination.
Yeah, Lag Esports now on the back foot. Unfortunately, they took a little bit too much time. So the flanking maneuver that Gaga did manage to land didn't pay off in dividends because there just wasn't that return on investment. There wasn't that push coming through from Lag to actually utilize it. So now VST one number up, very happy to jump back into this altercation with Lag. They've got the numbers, they're feeling confident. And now they just need to find those angles. It's A9Q19 and Fantasy to try and hold off the assault here. But those nades, if they find their mark, that will be the push. That will be the opportunity for VST to jump on in. Hey, there we go.
Yep. Now's the chance. Oh, quick response coming through from Fantasy, though. Not going to be letting the players here from VST do that for free, right? They have to pay the toll. Now, and see whether or not Fivo is going to be able to find these angles. Fantasy is going to be on Overwatch, keeping a very steady angle, while we see A9Q try to get that res up onto 1-9. But will this be a bit of a comeback opportunity now for Lag to just try and patch up this whole situation?
That's going to be the question here. 1-9 is back up, getting the meds in. But of course, they're not out of the woods, as you mentioned. Again, at the very least, they've put themselves on equal footing in terms of numbers. It's a 3-on-3. They can actually take this on with a bit more confidence, but they also might choose to just give themselves some space between them and VST. Because as we know, this is happening outside the zone. They still have to make the entryway into the zone, and that western portion of the zone is absolutely stacked with teams. So I'm not sure how much longer they're actually going to spend the time here.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that this is quite an essential position for VST to be playing at, right? So I can understand the commitment coming through from them, right? They want to lock in as many points as they can. Currently situated all the way in that 15th position, as we can see up at the top of the screen. So however this one pans out, right? Lag are not going to be too phased by however this one pans. Whatever the final result of this altercation is. However, VSC definitely in a position where they want to find a little bit more of a favorable turn of events. They want to try and secure not only that one elimination, but even more so to try and capitalize on this early game position.
And I do feel like that's just even more reason for Lag, knowing the standings, knowing the position of their opponents, to duck out. You know, it's like Titans and Teak. Teak not giving anyone else the satisfaction of taking them out. No, they'll rather take themselves out and move on forward. So, Lag, they have an opportunity to just, say, we're not going to give this to you. You know, you're going to have to really work for this and just sort of play the opposite game, right? Just try and force their opponents to really suffer the consequences and have to look for another opportunity. Of course, yeah, towards the middle of the zone, it's Mad Knight. It's Blackjack Esports. It's leaders as well that can jump into Los Leones at any given moment. So it's going to be a very, very interesting center zone.
Yeah, I'm not expecting Mad Knight or Blackjack to be as lenient with each other in that altercation because they find themselves situated side by side on the overall standings. But as we look back on towards VST, they actually now see Lag adopting that strategy that you were mentioning before, right? Instead, choosing to rather disengage themselves, not wanting to fall too early in this game.
Yeah, and also not wanting to give VST any sort of option of picking up, eliminations. They obviously don't know what's going to happen when they start that altercation, but if they can either 50% win something or 100% give VST just, a little bit of an ouch feeling because, now they don't get themselves eliminations, go for the 100%. Go for the winning conditions. So hopefully they will be able to disengage, maybe take a bit of a longer rotation. Again, if they do move up a little bit more north, they obviously found that they might find the team of 1 million, as we can see rotating on in. There's a Flame moving into that position just up ahead. So Legends of War, of course, they also need to keep their eyes peeled.
Yeah, but I gotta commend the players here from Legends of War, right? I mean, it's a team that we've been wanting to see step it up. We did have quite a few favorable plays coming through from them. Yes, they might not have had the craziest level of success so far today, but you can still see the efforts being put in, right? And that is what's commendable to me, is the fact that the teams are putting in the efforts. Whether it works out in their favor or not, that's okay. At least the effort is there. I mean, they might not succeed today, but that might turn around completely tomorrow. And of course, speaking about effort, it is going to be Lord now bringing in a little bit of that revenge effort as they step up and find the spray down on towards Rauf.
I thought you were going to say speaking about the turnaround because Lord really had to swing for that one. So Zero Tolerance, they still have all of their numbers in check. Now picking up a great bit of an elimination, potentially. It's still Soul who are still stuck in this position. Again, they're just on the edge of zone. Just on the edge. Shouldn't be interrupted anytime soon.
Yeah, I think it's a healthy position, but of course, still the fights will continue as both these teams now have come to the realization they need to kind of try and push this fight to its conclusion. As we can see, Hemo and Vortex getting into a little bit of a trade-off there. It is going to be Vortex now to meet the unfortunate fate, but up comes Skydo and Lord and Paradox. Oh, and Hemo now having their stables turn on them as the nade follows on through. The knock has been secured. And now all the hopes and dreams for Soul turn solely on towards Twix.
Doesn't feel great, but it is what it is. Zero Tolerance, they just stepped up massively. And we've been waiting for them to step up as well. So I'm kind of leaning towards Zero Tolerance, if I'll be honest. It's a great, great opportunity for them. Let's see how far they take it. Mad Knights with 2 here alongside Legends of War. As we know, very, very close to center zone. It has shifted a little bit more to that southeastern portion of the map, so they're not quite center, but they're extremely, extremely close. A little bit of a dash might find them repositioning themselves right alongside leaders, maybe Blackjack. Depends on how they take it.
Yeah, I'm especially going to be looking on towards Blackjack, seeing that they find themselves in such a favorable kind of setup, right? That beautiful elevation that they've got secured there. But now they are going to be put to the test as we look to the teams rotating into the zone, coming in from that northwestern side. It is triple and 1 million, but a little bit of a bumpy road, right? Again, the teams just showcasing how challenging it is to traverse this terrain. But Blackjack, they're going to be just, on the welcoming side. They're sending out a few nades as part of their receiving package, or, their process of having teams feel very warm once they come into the zone.
Absolutely. Myth, of course, not feeling so great themselves, a little bit too hot. There's a vehicle right behind them. Moment's not very happy about it. Farok now trying to make a dash into safety. I mean, looking at this for Myth, they've got 2 players down. I don't see them going for this res, like maybe just opting to get themselves out of the situation. Ronald, they will be picking up the opportunities here. But Broly might have something else to say here. Very, very close. Might jump into some sort of contention as they make that dash to Farok. Broly will definitely need to step in if they have any opportunity of keeping their teammate alive.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, but it's going to ride solely on Reverb, at least on the front line, finding the spray on towards Farok. But it doesn't seem like Broly is going to be looking to risk that position, right? They're going to be instead looking for a little bit more of that longevity. Ramsey, in the meanwhile, is also not too far away from getting confirmed up as well. So a little bit of an unfortunate turn of events coming through from Myth. We know that they were able to steal the show somewhat in the beginning of the day over on towards that Sanhok action. But now, moving into Miramar, it's an entirely different spread, right? Entirely different story. But Blackjack looking pretty good. 3 eliminations, full squad still, and they've got themselves situated towards that eastern side. So that does provide them with a little bit of more breathing room. They don't have to feel as pressurized as the rest of the teams moving in from that western side.
Zone shift going to be coming on through, and hello, northwest opportunities lying in wait here for Legends of War. I mean, I'm taking a look at Triple Esports, I'm taking a look at Lag, VST, take your pick, everyone is nearly here. It's just Super Young Stars and Soul, and of course Broly, who still have to make that mad dash to the center. Beast now, a lot of pressure as the entire squad of 1 million is within his building.
Yeah, that's not what you want to have, but the Beast still in a position where he could actually kind of just prioritize this positioning coming through from 1 million. Because unfortunately for 1 million, if they want to take out the Beast, at least from this point, they're going to have to get on those staircases. And the Beast, as we can see, pretty much dialed in. Just going to be waiting to see how they want to take this fight. Oh, there we go. 1 down, unfortunately. Lazy Boy is going to close it up and end it right there for them.
A little bit of a unfortunate misfocus coming through there. Just looking to Yeah, literally just looking at the wrong place at the wrong time. It happened. It's okay. Leaders now, on the other hand, on the receiving end, I'd rather say, from Titans, moving on through with some fantastic aggression, finding Morteza. And as we know, Morteza has been a very, very scary opponent. So Teak will be breathing a sigh of relief that that's no longer going to be a threat. But they need to be opting for maybe more of an assertive position here, as they might want to take out the rest of leaders as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is a strategy that we've seen Titans pull and succeed, right? So Titan, not a team to shy away from really, really pushing the envelope here as to what they can accomplish. I mean, they are sitting at the top of the leaderboard and leading by an absolute insane amount of points. But of course, Blackjack now looking to just condense themselves back in towards Los Leones. We know that's kind of their home turf. So we can see Phoenix and the rest of the crew now looking to get themselves situated, fueling up those vehicles in preparation of a bit of an engagement. But Desert Flame moving up. We've got Myth also in the mix. The lone survivor of Broly. But I'm liking this position because Los Leones is going to be allowing that continuation for the team. Seeing that it is a city, it's so many difficult angles to try and cover.
And again, that zone blessing coming on through. If we do have a team that is set up within a compound, set up within a building, and they get themselves zone blessed, they're going to be very tough to take out. Absolutely. It's so difficult. But looking at this, Lord still yet to join the fray out in the blue zone. The last remaining member here for Zero Tolerance, pulling up potentially just behind Super Young Stars Wave, also moving in a little bit closer potentially from that northern position of Los Leones. And obviously now it's, well, hide and seek. Trying to find the teams where they're hiding out within these compounds.
Yeah, and this is where things get a little bit more risky, right? I think the teams on those more outlying positions actually find themselves to be a little bit more blessed with regards to the positioning. But Lag, Titan, down on that southern edge, they are definitely going to start duking it out, looking to see who can lock in that position. But again, this is where the situation could take quite a bit of a turn, right? Legends of War positioned right on the very edge, but up comes Titan now, finding that first hit on towards A9Q. Next up is going to be 1-9 and Fantasy. The final two contenders left for the Lag team, and down goes 1-9 and Fantasy now having to fend for themselves. Instead, going to be opting into a quick little bit of an escape, moving into that buggy and looking to find another position to call home, at least for the interim.
I like that. As we said, the focus on longevity, you know, keeping the team still in this, keeping them at least gaining some potential bonus points, placement points rather. As we're moving in with 14 teams left, we're still unfortunately in that 0-point placement territory. So no one really wants to go out at this point in time to take 0 to the names. Golden and VST, on the other hand, fighting here towards the outskirts of the northwestern portion of the zone. They need to get this one done and dusted because they need to move into zone.
Yeah, they definitely need to do so. Fortunately, they'll still have a little bit of time to go before the blue zone actually catches up with them. But they're, of course, on the fast end of that blue zone, so they're not going to be afforded too much time. Meanwhile, Angelo not looking for a quick little bit of a disengage as the shots now continue to rain down on towards VST. Out comes Arab Golden, trying to get themselves at least secured within the zone. They do find the position, but 1 million perched up high is going to be quite the vantage point to try and capitalize on. Arab Golden now facing quite a challenge, right? They are secured within this compound, but if they move into any other compound, 1 million will just rain down terror on them. But of course, look at this, right? MG now defending the position right here alongside Wave Esports.
Very reminiscent of one of the closing zones we had on Miramar in this last phase. Now, of course, it is Wave Esports trying to hold the line and so many angles to try and defend. Unfortunately, it's going to be a tall order. We've got Desert Flame involved. We've got Blackjack Esports, Leaders Esports, Wave Esports take a pick. Once again, it is absolutely stacked here towards the northeastern portion of the zone. And I'm not really favoring the position that Blackjack Esports find themselves in, very split apart. So unfortunately, taking one engagement might not lead to any sort of recovery.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a play at the attrition right here to see who's going to be able to succeed and secure the zone for themselves. I'm liking this plays coming through here from Chronal, right? Trying to clean it up, trying to blaze that way open to have MG to give MG some form of an escape here. Fortunately, we do see MG now just vaulting out the window, and that could be the strategy now coming to fruition here. But of course, still quite a bit of a push yet to come on through. Wave not 100% secured just yet, but we know TEAMLAG 100% secured back into the lobby.
Absolutely, back into the lobby and good to our top 13 teams. So hey, placement points just around the corner. Lead is now finding at least Phoenix, but this is going to be a bit of a question mark here. As we know, you move on forward, you look for a little bit more, you're exposing yourself to the rest of the teams. And I'm in particular focusing on Super Young Stars, who basically hold the crossing line for leaders to move into this contention with Desert Flame and Wave Esports. If they want to pick up those eliminations or get those confirmations, well, you're going to have to kind of expose your position here.
Yeah, but I think this is where the teams are not wanting to play that one out just yet. As you can see, Messi instead trying to see if they can create a bit of an opening, but I'm loving this anticipation being held by leaders, right? Moving on to that very edge, gatekeeping on towards the players there from Super Young Stars. But again, as we look just across the zone, we can see a lot of teams on this very edge position trying to get themselves hunkered down before that rest of the push comes through. Even Super Young Stars, you said they are getting gatekept here by leaders, but they could still push for a little bit more of that northern play. Maybe sneak in behind the players there from Blackjack.
You can even take a bit of a western approach, for at least for the time being, but they don't have the information we do. Team Myth, in the meantime, going to get confirmed 1 million now, looking to do the same with Arab Golden. Indias is going to be up on the chopping block here.
Let's see where Elias is going to try and push this one. Marshall waiting for this opportunity. Oh, up comes the dirty work. Lazy Boy and Marshall steps up from the side. Venom securing that spray. Beautiful job being done here by 1 million. And again, this is 1 million now turning this whole situation in their favor, right? They want to try and gatekeep over on towards this western edge. Seeing that we've got the players there from VST and Triple yet to push on forward. But out comes that Leno now just rushing to the opportunity. Finding those 2 eliminations on Triple Esports, and Chemo's now the final remaining player for the team, but finds a bit of an opportunity onto VST.
Absolutely, and they want to continue this, right? I mean, at this point in time, what else do you have to go for you? I mean, taking a look now, Nate's coming on through, might make the connection to Zuxi, does do a great amount of damage. Another one to follow suit in terms of a smoke, just to give the remaining cover to VST to maybe make that rotation out. They have to push on into Chemo's position if they want to get into the zone.
Yeah, they definitely have to push on that position. Or they could maybe opt for a little bit of that southern rotation, right? There is still a bit of a saving grace to be had should they decide to do that. But I don't think that is going to be 100% on the board, right? Atleno going to be rolling on through with that 3-wheel of doom. Looking to see if they can find that blazing play. Chemo's now just huddled down, waiting for the opportunity. Finds Fivo. Up comes Atleno. Could this be the one? Zuxi also still in contention here. A quick little bit of a patch up is all you need before you step out into the fight once again. But look at these utilities are getting sent out. Chemo's wanting to make it seem like there's even more players here than what there really are.
Oh, absolutely. Just a little bit of threats, right? You know, you don't know what numbers are holding around the corner, but of course, that push has to come through. It's 2 against 1 as Chemo looks for that spray down, finds the one, doesn't get ready enough, at least quick enough for that second. It is Atleno to at least clutch it out, but the numbers not looking great for VST now.
Yeah, definitely not looking all too favorable. And we're also going to add that blue zone pressure to it, right? Fortunately for them, they're right on the very edge. But 1 million still in contention towards that western side. But as we jump over to the east, things are looking pretty grim, right? Desert Flame, Wave, as well as the players here from Blackjack. We've got leaders, we've got the Super Young Stars, all just holding on to these positions. But look at the dance around the block, as it is going to be DWAS to secure the sprays and send the players there from Wave Esports on packing. Of course, Blackjack still up on the roofs. MG Gronal trying to see how they can get themselves out of the sticky situation. But Carry Boy just missing out on a quick opportunity there to find a bit of a trade in towards Blackjack.
The stalemate that just keeps on moving forward. It is Blackjack, Super Young Stars, Desert Flame, and leaders that have joined the fray here from that eastern position. And a good opportunity here for Desert Flame, I would say, because of the great position that they hold. They have a line into the zone. They have a navigational path that they have secured. It is Blackjack, it is Super Young Stars that need to hold the line and fight for the opportunity here.
Chronil now going to be looking to move up. Just getting up alongside leaders. I mean, this is going to be a pretty crazy play, but MG fortunately there to provide that extra bit of backup. Up comes the push, though. Gronal finds the first, looks for the second, succeeds, and sends it on through. Down they go. Beautiful hits. And now Leaders Esports getting reduced to mere boxes now. Of course, Nosa for the super young stars holding on to a steady position up on the top of the roof there.
I do like it. A little bit of line of sight onto the rest of the teams. We can see Titans, of course, holding a fairly good opportunity here towards that southern point. Again, very similar to what we saw in that previous Miramar, where we found ourselves in exactly the same position, but a great line of sight to Desert Flame. Not keeping good track of the opening angles within these windows. Need to be careful. Some cover needs to be worried here.
Look at
What's
this.
happening?
Titans just absolutely obliterating to the players there
10
from 1
eliminations.
million. I mean, Marshall, yeah, we're not even going to touch on that just yet, right? It's going to be out to Marshall and Venom. Oh, looking to see where they can push the envelope towards next, but it is still some pretty grim positions to be played out.
Yeah, no, this is looking very, very dangerous if you know what Titans are capable of. 1 million down to 2. Desert Flame now feeling the brunt of the action, not only from Titans, but of course Legends of War getting involved as well. 1 million just trying to stay silent in and amongst these 3 teams, all with 4 players as an availability. Punch, of course, still needing to get a bit of a res. There it is. So the 4 players are still up for grabs. We've got Titans, Legends of War, Desert Flame. They're holding great positions within the zone, but it's only really Desert Flame and Titans that have the easiest entry into zone, at least one way or another.
Yeah, we do see that re-knock coming through once again. Teak now still going to be bleeding out, but the rest has come through on towards Teak. B6 now moving in to just try and fortify this position, but the zone taking that swing over towards the eastern side, looking quite favorable now for Desert Flame and Titan, but not so much for the players from 1 million and Legends of War, right? They are going to be facing quite a bit of an obstacle to get themselves secured moving through in towards this next phase. So ideally, you'd love to see Desert Flame and the players there from Titan focusing their efforts more towards that eastern side and leaving the altercation between themselves, you know, for the fight, for that winner chicken dinner.
Absolutely, and this is but there's opportunities. DK, they are jumping flaccos in windows that we just want to take a shot at. So yes, they do want to, in some cases, leave this and let the rest of the teams take themselves out. But the opportunity is there, and we know Titans are aggressive. We know they love those eliminations. Now Flacco sneaking on by, trying to get closer, taking some damage on the onslaught, on the approach here. So not sure that their position is quite well hidden.
No, not hidden at all. I mean, they are super hidden now, right? All the way in the lobby, but 1 million playing such a sneaky approach here, trying to ride out that storm. They do rather get the confirmation up on towards AXA. Almost getting Venom knocked on down. Marshall now going to be pushing on forward right into the midst of Legends of War. Mowing, taking quite a bit of damage. But up comes the push. Marshall, Venom, they want to close this one out. They want to secure this western angle. Up comes the rush, the sprays. Oh! Marshall finds it, locks it up. Now Flick on the defensive. Desert Flame right behind 1 million. And this is just absolute carnage unfolding on this western edge. But of course, look at that now. 1 million getting absolutely eliminated.
Okay, well then we got the answer. It is 1 million and Titans, but moving on through. It's Legends of War holding the line. Desert Flame running into an onslaught here that they weren't ready for.
Oh, wow. It is ending up with Titans and Desert Flame to face off for that winner chicken dinner, but the Molly's coming into play, and there we have it. Titan locking in yet another winner chicken dinner, finishing on 14 eliminations. But Desert Flame stepping up so phenomenally, just keeping the contention all the way to the finish.
I can't lie, I was a little bit biased there towards Titans because I did want them to continue their streak. So far, they've picked up 2 winner chicken dinners, 3 days in a row, back to back. I love it.
Absolutely insane, right? I mean, that puts Titans now, I believe, on 6. They won 5 moving into this match. Absolutely insane performance. Yeah, just keeping the trend going. 2 chicken dinners a day. But at least we saw 1 million, right? Also coming in with those 2 winner chicken dinners. The only difference is 1 million did that back to back, right? So there's a little bit of a reputation between the 2 teams. It's like, you know what? We got the chickens. how many did you get, right? So, but again, a very, very contagious performance coming across the board. But I gotta say, a big ups going out to Desert Flame for keeping the pressure up, managing to secure themselves that second place finish, and that is going to be some very well-deserved plays coming through for them. But of course, before we get into the full breakdown of our match, we are going to be taking a very quick break, so be sure to stay tuned, and we'll be back in a short few moments. Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa 2022 season. Right here on our last match that has just been concluded. We saw some absolutely glorious performances coming through once again. But right, today, runaway plays coming through from Titans and 1 million. Just lighting it up and surprising us. Well, not really surprising us, but just reminding us, right, why they are here. And of course, let's take a look at those match rankings. Desert Flame stepping up with 17 points, just behind yet another chicken dinner for Titans, that being their 6th one in this first week.
I don't want to seem biased, but I'm more excited by Desert Flame picking up that second place than I am with Titans picking up another nearly 30 points a game. At this point, it's just becoming the norm. Who knows? Maybe they'll shake it out of me at some point or another. But of course, followed by Desert Flame, we've got Legends of War and 1 million. And of course, Blackjack Esports all tied with 15 points. One way or another, they got those points. Blackjack, massive eliminations. The only team that is second to Titan Gaming. So fantastic work from them in those final moments. And they really were in a cluster of just calamity there within that Miramar. Coming through from that northeastern side, there were a lot of teams that they had to deal with.
Yeah, it was pretty chaotic, right? If I'm being honest, but I mean that's what we love to see: teams being thrown into an absolute mess of teams just situated up in the vicinity. But again, those really impressive eliminations being brought in from Blackjack, that's the kind of play that we want to see more of coming through from them, right? Rocking it out there with 11. We know Blackjack, a team that can perform exceptionally well on the map of Miramar itself, and it's great to see that return coming through from them. I'm hoping to see even more of that. I honestly want that to be just the start of even more from Blackjack. But let's see where this goes. But a very, very great play coming through, at least for our team sitting on this very first page. But as we know, true fashion, we need to take a look and see what that second page is looking like and how many the points the teams were able to secure. Of course, leaders picking up those 3 points alongside Wave and Triple Esports sitting on 2 points apiece.
Yeah, so some spread of eliminations on this side of the match rankings, but it isn't as consistent as what we've seen today. There were, unfortunately, a few teams to take some donuts, to take some bubbles, whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, just nothing to really add to their tally for today. And, well, that's their last opportunity for today, at least. So no more options after this one. But at least we're seeing some form of, the teams picking up some good eliminations, picking up some good points. It's weird to see leaders in 9th place, I will be honest, because we've been building up how phenomenal they've been with those eliminations, and there's a reason that they find themselves so close in the overall standings up to the top 4, top 3, etc., because they've been flipping amazing. They've been bringing in some crazy eliminations, but today we're just not seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty tough day for leaders. 3 points a match. It's not the most ideal amount of points, but, at least it's points. It's better than nothing. So I don't think it's going to be too devastating for the overall performance for leaders, but still a great play coming through. We see that strong consistency from them in the previous phase, now replicating a very similar kind of play, and in fact actually improving on the efforts that we saw coming through from that first phase already just in the first 3 days. So things are looking on the up and up, and then we've also seen 1 million definitely looking on the up and up. But to show you how much of an up and up the up and up has been, wow, that was a lot of up, right? We are going to be hopping into our overall rankings with the players from Titans. No surprise, sitting there 93 points ahead of the competition, or 97. Sorry, my math failing me there for a quick second. But of course, yeah, I know, just 4 points out. But 1 million making quite a drastic jump. We know they started off the day all the way in 5th position. Now they've been able to close that gap and just absolutely rampage their way on forward. In fact, 1 million, they've secured 100 points today.
Oh, good morning. Hello. Just managing, to just one up potentially Titans, or at least match the energy that Titans brought in on that first day of this phase. So huge plays from 1 million. As you mentioned, that 36 points a game, those 21 eliminations, they are making it work. Now, Leaders Esports, of course, followed in 3rd place. As you mentioned, not the most insane performance coming through from them today, but it's at this point in time, they're sitting quite comfortably that if they just continue to pick up some, morsel of points, we should see them in the top 12. We should see them in Livic. One round, of course, also making a nice little bit of a splash up in 4th place with Seoul Esports in 5th. And again, these are our teams that are finding themselves up in those triple digits. It's not too far off for Slime and Desert Flame even. Hello. Hi. Welcome to this first part of the page to actually get closer to those top 5 positions.
Yeah, I mean, at least for now, still the top 5 is unchanged, right? It's still the same 5 teams. They're just shuffling around with their current positioning. Of course, 1 million doing the biggest jump here today, locking in. I just can't get over it, right? Titans locked in 100 points on day 1. Now we come over to 1 million on day 3, the first day of our weekend play. And they come through with also a 100-point effort. So I'm quite excited what this could mean, right? This could definitely be that little bit of a disruption we need to see coming in alongside Titans. But of course, moving on to our second page, we can see the continuation of points. Still very, very close, right? There's a little bit more of a disparity, this discrepancy coming through between that 9th and 16th place. But it's only down to 15 points. It was 8 not too long ago, so there's still quite a bit of opportunity here for teams to make those more drastic jumps.
Yeah, I don't feel that there's been a cliff built between our top 12 teams and the rest of the lobby. I mean, literally nothing. It's 1 point difference between 12th and 13th place. So still massive opportunity for teams to get themselves in a winning contention for going onto our extra map of Livic at the end of this phase. And I would hope that they still push. I mean, they still have 2 days worth of games, 4 games each for each single group on each day to really pick up the points to get themselves into the top 12 and to get them in the best possible condition for those bonus point allocations. So yeah, there's nothing much other than what I can say to the teams, that I just really want them to keep pushing that final line, keep pushing those boundaries, keep trying to pack the envelope as full as they possibly can moving into these next 2 days, whether that is, pushing for the engagements, pushing for the eliminations. There is an opportunity for you to close that gap.
I mean, you want to know how scary this is, right? Let's take a look at this last page. Look at the points, right? We're going to be seeing those points sitting on 55, 53, all the way to 46, right? But the gap between 6th place and 20th place is only 41 points difference.
It's nothing. I
It's
mean,
nothing.
if we can have Titans and 1 million picking up 100 in a single day, it's
Yes.
nothing. It is a fraction of the points that these teams can pick up to get themselves up in potentially even 6th place. I mean, come on, that is huge. That is so much better than what we saw in phase 1. In phase 1, we had a multitude of, discrepancies, cliffs, gaps, whatever you want to call it, building up on the overall leaderboard already after the first 2 days of play. So this is
Yeah. I'm still thinking that tomorrow is going to be that day, right? Same as what we had in the previous phase. This day 4, that's going to be the essential kicker to see just what efforts the teams are going to be looking to bring on forward as they move up. As we know also, moving into tomorrow's games, we are returning with a little bit more of that Erangel heavy play, right? I think we're going to be having 3 Erangel days tomorrow, or 3 Erangel maps being played out tomorrow. So there's going to be more than ample opportunity for the teams to try and close up those gaps. And as we saw, as I said, from 6th to 20th place, only separated by 51 points. Any of these teams can make that jump and secure themselves into that top 12 to move over into Woodslivik, but that also means that we are still having a super contentious lobby across the board.
Absolutely. And it's like I said, it's amazing to see, because that means within one singular week of play, these teams have massively shifted the way and the dynamic that they bring to every single map, every single engagement, every single altercation. They've immediately improved on things that some teams didn't have the opportunity to do so. That's why they have the stage, and that's why they're here in the first place, is that adaptability that they can bring in so quickly that makes them such crazy competitors to go up against.
Well, I mean, this week is just getting more and more exciting as we move on through. We've got some contenders for the pole position. We've got a super contentious lobby for the remainder of the teams. But I mean, I think all is going to be revealed as we move into day 4 and day 5, because that's where the teams are really going to start honing those efforts. Right? We know last week that is where we saw the greatest increase in performance for the entire lobby, right? The team stepping up that it was especially situated more in those lower positions, really lighting a new kind of fire under themselves and stepping out and just surprising us with some absolutely blow away performances. So I'm really looking forward to seeing who will be those teams tomorrow as they step out looking to meet that challenge and maybe even possibly surprise themselves with the level that they can, meet in tomorrow's games.
I'm definitely going to keep an eye out on Titans. Are they going to continue that streak 4 days in a row? Is it possible, DK?
Well, we'll only know by tomorrow, right? And of course, that means we are at the end of our proceedings for this evening. So I hope you all enjoyed the show as much as we did. We look forward to seeing you all back again tomorrow as we continue with our 4th day of insane PUBG Mobile action right here on the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa 2022 full season. Until then, stay safe. See you back tomorrow. Same time, same place.
weapons